Hi, Suzerain here with another video, and this might seem very daunting to new players, as this is probably going to be a long one. This is my Everything Explained series, and this isn't something you're supposed to like sit there and watch. You're generally like playing this while you're playing along and listening and paying attention to things that are new, as I'm going to be explaining everything as if I'm a completely new player. It is going to be long and unedited, and these are pretty hard to do because I can't really script 7 hours worth of content, and I just have to do everything impromptu as it comes up. I've actually made a fresh Path of Exile account, so everything that a new player would experience and encounter, including some things that you get later, will be completely explained. So we're going to go through everything, and yeah, it is a very, very long video, but I hope you enjoy it. And obviously when I take a break, because I will take breaks during 7 hours or 9 hours, you can just skip past it in the video, obviously. And as a new thing, I'm going to try to go a little bit into maps. So this will be even longer than normal. Normally I end in Act 9 since not much changes past then, but I really want to try to include the start of maps. So we're going to try to do this different. And yeah, we'll get in-game first. So this is what the screen looks like when you're a new player and you have hopefully already installed the game. And yeah, I'll do my best to try to include everything. So there will be a large amount, and it'll go very slow early on comparatively. Somewhere in the mid-game, I'll try to speed up a lot to try to save time. But the first 2, maybe 3 acts will be very, very heavy explanation and go pretty slow. So number 1, install the game, make an account. And then these are the base classes. But the one that we're going to be doing for this Everything Explained, and I have other ones that are relatively up to date, but we're going to be starting with the duelist here. Here in league selection, there are no challenge leagues currently, so we're just going to be starting on standard.
Sin has led you here. Your path
These are Everything Explained. Oh, that works.
You have betrayed the grand.
And just as a quick explanation, the way leagues work, challenge leagues, they generally last for 3 months. Once that league expires, everything goes to standard. It's like an eternal realm, never wipes, never changes. Most people play the temporary leagues. It always has a fresh economy. It's got new content, and it's really, really fun. People really enjoy it. And I think somewhere like 80 to 90% play the challenge leagues. And you can continue testing and experimenting on standard. So before we start, there's a few things we need to do. So we are actually going to be following a build guide, and we'll try to link to that in the description down below. But this is my Suzerain explosive arrow, and it's using a program called Path of Building. Sorry. We'll have a link to how to install that as well. But in the Path of Building, in the video, there will be a link to Path of Building that you import here. You click import, and then this will pop up. For new players especially, this is really good because it like does a very, very good step-by-step. And we're going to follow this to the letter as if we were a completely new player. So we'll have that on the background, and I'll be looking at that throughout. Now, on top of that, there's another thing we need before we start, and that is an item filter. So for that, we go to a website called filterblade.xyz, and you can click on like never sync softcore. Regular is probably fine for a new player, and then you just go to save and export. Continue without savings, fine, and then you download. Once you've downloaded it, what you're going to do is you click on this and you put that file there, and then you load it. I think all of mine, mine are usually saved. Okay, I guess I will actually do that then. Hold on, let me do that real quick. I'll just actually use the filter that I was suggesting you guys to use. I usually have my own custom one, but... There, regular, never sync softcore, save and export. There. Okay. There, I just like pasted it in. Filter blade, sure. Alright. We should have the same filter even now, even more. Forgot the others were saved to my account. So once that's in, we have that. We have the Path of Building, and then I'll quickly go over some like I don't think there's any graphic settings. I'll scroll through them quickly, but that's like not super important. If you're having stuttering or any lag issues, switching between DirectX Vulkan and DirectX 11 and figuring out what works good for your setup is pretty important. In game, you need to have this here, and you can click hide filtered items. I usually turn off auto equip. And then in UI, we'll keep this on. A new player would want to have this on. And then let's see, what else do we want? The number one thing to start with, landscape transparency to the left. It just removes like weird fluff. And then map transparency to the right. The zoom can be whatever you want. Always show sockets, show full description, show life and mana levels. And then show mini life bars on allies, enemies, and life bar above you. That's pretty much everything we need to start off with. And like I said, it'll be very heavy on explanation earlier. We're going to skip all tutorials. The in-game tutorials aren't that great. And we're going to do default attack and remove that to move only. And then we're going to just put it on middle mouse button for now. This is because it'll like attack enemies all the time while you're trying to move. So it's better to have a forced move only. The first is a quick explanation. You have your life in the bottom left. We're currently at 61. Mana in the bottom right. Mana is the same for all classes. There's no alternative resource really, like energy, etc. At the moment. So if we click I for inventory, that opens inventory, and you can see all the hotkeys here, but they're pretty straightforward. You'll see that there's loads of like different item slots. We have some potions. It's 1, 2, and 5 currently, and you can like move that around if you want. And we're going to start. First up, we get a rusted sword, and you can see that it has a green socket and a red socket. And while talking to this dying exile, we have to kill the hungry corpse. And now we get our first gem. So if you've ever played an ARPG before, you might be used to your character itself, like inside your character, right? Like Diablo 2, for example. You have the skills, you have the abilities, and it's bound to the type of character you are. Path of Exile is very different here, where every ability and gem in the game is an actual item. So if I socket this into the green socket, and it's important, I obviously can't put it in the red socket, this gives me the ability called Double Strike. We can remove default attack now. We're never going to use that. And now we have double strike, and an important thing to do on pretty much every ability except one called dash is you want to select always attack without moving. It would be the same as holding down shift, and it just makes that you don't run towards enemies. So if I right click now, it tries to attack in its direction. Gives you a lot more control over your character, and you really want to learn that as early as possible. Here we're coming up to the large chest, which gives us our first support gem. And this is how you augment abilities. So there's like hundreds of different active skill gems, which Double Strike is an active skill gem, and that's what gives you an ability. And then you have hundreds of different support gems, which augment or alter your active abilities. Just kind of run through everything here, and then now we're going to go to Hillock. And I do want to try to not overwhelm people, but the number one thing you can learn early in Path of Exile is running in a circle is just completely broken OP in this game. So if you can master that early, this will be very important towards one of the early bosses later in this act called Brutus. You can see just by running around and attacking like this, he can't even hit me. And then if he does hit me, you'll see I'll take a decent amount of damage and I'll have to use my life flask. So the reason I say that so early is just getting you into that mentality that moving is strong. And obviously, like I've helped and seen my wife play the game and stuff, so I know it is a lot harder in the start when you're a new player. But yeah, it's pretty great to learn. Keep moving. So now we've killed Hillock. We looted a bunch of items. We'll see that there's different rarities here. So I'm gonna try to explain every single thing as it comes up. That's why it's so like top heavy, early heavy. And here we have white items. You'll see that there's stat requirements that I don't currently have. So characters have intelligence, strength, and dexterity, and you don't gain that by default. That's from the skill tree. If you've never seen the skill tree before, brace yourself. This is what it looks like. It is very comprehensive. That's why we have the build guide to be very step by step. I'm going to move to a new scene where you can actually see when I alt tab as well. Give me 1 second here. Kind of close. I don't have so many windows open because I've been recording and stuff a lot. Let's see. I have Steam open and loads of things. There. Downloads. There, I think we have everything. Here, so now you'll be able to see my path of building and stuff as I go in game too. So we'll just start here, and the good thing here is it shows you, so you don't have to worry about just seeing a full skill tree and wondering where you have to go. But so we have the skills, etc. And you can see here that some nodes, these are small ones, these are called travel nodes. They either give like small amounts of damage, so here like life, a little bit of damage, a little bit of attack speed, dexterity, and then we have some bigger nodes. These are called notables. So you can see they have like a little gold border around them, so these are better. This one gives attack speed, global accuracy rating, and ignores all movements penalty from armor. This is really nice because armor normally slows you down a little bit. And then you have something else called keystones, and these will be like very, very build altering. And these are, we will be using some of them early on, so we'll explain those when we get to them. And I'll explain, well, I'll try not to over explain, so we'll explain everything as we get to it. So now with items, obviously you've seen that there are attribute requirements, and there are sockets, and there are colors. So sockets, gear can have up to 6 sockets, that's the max, and that's on either body armors or two-handed weapons. So for example, this driftwood maul could have 6 sockets, or this simple robe could have 6 sockets. Here's the standard opening crew. But we also have rarities, and there are no set items in Path of Exile, but we have white items, we have blue items, which are also called magic, we have yellow items, which are also called rare items. We'll use these interchangeably. And then we have unique or legendary or brown items, or orange. There are no set items. And there's, yeah, those are all the rarities. I am on a completely fresh account. So Path of Exile is a free-to-play game. But, and I would say you could easily get like 50 to 100 hours completely free. But once you realize that the game is for you, then you will want to spend anywhere from like $30 to $60 on stash tabs, where the game is borderline unplayable without it. So we're going to go ahead and allocate our first point here. I'm going to hold down control while allocating points. The reason I do that is that so we don't get a prompt asking us to confirm. Now a thing that's really good in Path of Exile is that you don't actually need to talk to most NPCs to accept quests. A lot of the time you can just do the quest without actually like following. So we can look back at the path of building. What are we going to do for our leveling setup? We're going to be using Spectral Throw with Chance to Bleed and Volley. We're going to have Dash at some point, Banner, and Ancestral Protector. And we get these at like level 1 to 4-ish. So first off, we need to get Spectral Throw. I can't remember if I actually get that here.
Fine work.
No, we don't get Spectral Throw here, so I will have to buy that. We can just grab Splitting Steel anyway. Then I'm going to sell the Simple Robe, Rusted Sword, run sell the Driftwood Maul, and Plate. We don't need those. And then you'll see that this sold for something called Transmutation Shards. Once you get a Transmutation Orb, that's when the stack size hits 20. Then it'll give a full Transmutation Orb, and that can change the rarity of an item. So that's very, very interesting, and that's how the Path of Exile system works, is it's all about like crafting currencies and stuff like that.
What little help I can offer.
Now we're going to go buy a Spectral Throw, because that's the thing we're going to be using. We previously would use Splitting Steel, but that's been nerfed quite a bit. Let's see. So we're going to go here, look at the vendor, and we're just going to see if there's any like good links. We would be looking for green, green, red would be really, really nice. Red, red, green isn't the worst to get early on, and we do have spare wisdoms. So if you see a green, green, red, or a red, red, green in your vendor, that is something you can grab at this point. So I'll just buy this.
Farewell.
And then I'm also going to identify this Rusted Sword. Here we see that it has some physical damage, some fire damage, mana gain when killed. And we'll just put that in. We're now dual wielding. We'll put in the Spectral Throw. So right now the only gem we're using is Spectral Throw, chance to bleed. We're going to put always attack without moving, and we're going to move to the coast. Again, it'll be very slow early.
Not the most pleasant of arenas, but it'll have to do.
And then I don't usually bother killing too much stuff here. Normally running through the first zone is quite good because the monsters are a little bit too strong. Some of the cannibals can like burst you down pretty fast. And yeah, we just really don't need to kill that much here. If I get like a really big pack, I'll sometimes throw some blades through them. But a really, really good thing is as a new player, it's never bad to like overkill, and it'll really benefit you, especially on this build once you hit level 28. Now we have the waypoint system that we've unlocked, and now you'll see we can go back to town from here, or we can go to coast. And I think I want to teach you early on is the power of holding control down. And you can hold that during using waypoints or while entering a new zone. And this is really good for if you're ever feeling weak and you want to like keep leveling in one zone. You're like, oh, maybe I don't want to progress yet. I'm not strong enough. And this zone is incredibly dangerous. These kill a lot of people at league start. You really want to have good movement here. They'll like charge at you. So you'll see that I'm like trying to avoid them. I'm trying to like not get hit by that charge. And see a quest item. Even though we haven't accepted a quest here, you'll see that there's a quest item. So that's a really, really good thing. If you're a player that's coming from Lost Ark and you're used to having to like spam every like quest giver and talk to things, I know I had a really hard time with that. Then PoE, you don't have to do that. You can just go do the quests. So our gem is leveled up on the right here. There is no auto leveling. If I right click it, it'll stop leveling. This is really bad. You don't generally want to do that. There are exceptions that we'll explain later. But I'll just periodically level gems as they level. We'll pick up the quest here, and then we'll just focus on killing Roas. Picking up that quest item does buff the Roas around it. So killing the Roas before clicking it can be really good. And I picked up a item called a chrome item. So you can see that this is a red, blue, and green linked. It doesn't matter what order they are in, but if it is all linked together, and we'll explain links as well here, but if they are linked together, then it'll sell for an chromatic orb, and that you can use to recolor items. And the colors of the items are based on the stats. So it's pretty straightforward. If it's a item with high strength, there'll be more red sockets. If it's an item with high dexterity, it'll be more green sockets, and intelligence, more blue sockets. Pick up the raw nest here, and then we're about to be charged. But I also want to explain links on items. So let's see. If you see here, the blue and the red is not linked here, right? So let's say the green and the red here was not linked. These two would not affect each other, and you can see that they're linked by the fact that they glow. So yeah, no matter if I hover over chance to bleed or spectral throw, they're both glowing. That means that they're connected. Let me see. We'll hopefully get a new weapon soon at some point. There's a chain belt. Don't really have an ideal starting weapon. If you already have the choice, getting a two-hander at this point would be better. We're now level 4. We're just running through here. Now, the early start of this build until level 28 is a little bit rough. And the early game has like got nerfed a little bit, but once we get level 28, it'll be a very, very smooth build. Got a corroded blade there. It's also a chrome. We've gotten all the 3 quest items. You also notice I have the map overlay on all the time. That's what I like. There. And then boom, we've completed a quest. I'm gonna move the gems to my chest now, and now you might be thinking, oh, I don't need them in my weapon, and that is correct. There, we'll switch out to the two-hander. Even though it's not rare, it should most likely be better than what I had. We're now going to go, not progress here, we're going to go back to the coast. And then also we're going to look at our path of building, and it says so we're going to be going here. But a little bit of attack speed, a little bit of life. And again, we're holding control to assign those. Now we're just gonna run through here. You'll also notice I sometimes try to like bunch up a bunch of monsters to like kill more at a time. Not super important, but obviously if you're killing one at a time, it takes longer. Now, this is surprisingly the best AI boss in the game. It's the only one that'll predict your movements. If I run like this, he'll actually aim at you and hit you. Normally, just like running around him in a circle, like we showed earlier, is just incredibly powerful. As you can see, you can't do anything. Very, very straightforward. The faster you learn that, the better. Biggest tip I can give you. Bit of a big scream there, and you'll see that I'm picking up all the white items, or sorry, not all the white items, all the chrome items, and a lot of the blues as well. I'm just going to make some space here for the skill vest. Now we're just going to exit to character selection. At the start of a league, never exit to login screen, always exit to character selection, because you'll be put in a queue. Now the Path of Exile queue goes away pretty fast, sometimes within 20-30 minutes. And then we're going to pick up a Quicksilver Flask. This is a utility flask, so it will not heal you, it will not give you mana. And I'm just going to pick up the volley support here. We don't currently have the gems to use that. See, and then we're going to start selling some things. We can keep the chain belt, and everything else we're just selling. And you'll see now we're getting those chromes that I talked about. And then we're also getting alteration shards. So while the transmutation orb, once you get that, will turn an item blue. And a blue item can have two stats. It can have a prefix and a suffix. We'll get to once we actually I can show on this rare item here, which we identify with the Scroll of Wisdom. Oops. And rare items can have 3 prefixes, 3 suffixes. Again, blues can have 1 prefix, 1 suffix. Never 2 prefixes. So here we have 2 prefixes and 3 suffixes. This is a very good starter belt. It's got life, mana, life regen, and resistances. And resistances are very important in Path of Exile. If we click C and go to defense, somewhere around Act 3, the game will be expecting that you have close to 50-60% in everything here. It caps out at 75. That is the maximum you can get. I will also, for veteran players, I will be on purpose dumbing down some things or intentionally not explaining things, because talking about exceptions that are like, yeah, well, 40 hours from now, there are exceptions, not very important to new players. So I will be trying to dumb things down on purpose and not talk about exceptions as much. Let's see. Here we are grabbing Ancestral Protector. That is a very, very good totem that will give damage to us. And then we're going to grab Dash. That was the gem that I said that you don't want to do the attack in place. But we do want that on Ancestral Protector. And then I'm going to put Dash on my spacebar. That's what I've changed in keybinds. Let's see if there is a green, green, red. I'm also going to look to see if there's a short bow with attack speed. Would be really nice for once we hit level 28. Since this is a red, red, green short bow and it's just 1 wisdom. Oh, but I don't really have that many more wisdoms. I'm tempted to buy it just because we are going to be using a short bow later on and we might not be able to get one. Let's see. There's no green, green, reds. I'm a little unlucky here, so I can't actually use my volley support gem, but that's fine. We're just going to ignore that. But if you can get a green, green, red, that'd be great. Especially if you can get a green, green, red short bow for later. You know what? I'm just going to buy the short bow so I have one, because wisdoms aren't going to be too hard. Yeah.
Farewell.
So then I have one for later. And now we're going to go to the Submerged Passage. You'll see that dash. Really, really good. And again, if I have always dying without moving, it makes me go backwards. Don't want that. And then I'm going to put the Ancestral Protector. You'll see that's like going to start attacking for me. And then early on, you want to pick up a lot of stuff, because you want things like Transmutation Shards, Alteration Shards. You get Transmutation Shards by selling unidentified items, and you get Alteration Shards by selling identified items. There's a coral ring there. We want that. We'll put that on. And this is like a little mini boss. There's not like a huge benefit to killing these, but you can get some like loot. We can kill that real quick. We have a decent amount of damage already. That iron ring is obviously very, very nice. Here we got a rare leather cap, Orb of Chance. This is really, really good. Sometimes speedrunners get really sad and cranky when they don't get one of those. That'll be important for later. Now, Orb of Chance, and I'll explain every single currency as we find them. Orb of Chance, early on, it's not really used on gear. It's used to buy support gems. Like, for example, Cremation for some builds. And in our case, we're going to be using this to buy Explosive Arrow. I don't think we get it for free. I can't remember. But Orb of Chance is really good. What it does is it upgrades the item to a random rarity. So if the item has a unique, it actually has a chance to upgrade it to unique. I could technically use it on a short bow, and that could give a very good leveling item for this build. We're not going to do that. But we're going to go down to the submerged passage here, and we're just assigning skill points as we go. We're going to be 1-to-1 following the guide. I will be playing this at League Start as well. However, at League Start, I will not be 1-to-1 following the guide. Obviously, guides are completely static, and they're like intended for new players that aren't able to like dynamically alter things based on what you find. So that does lead to some confusion from new players. They're like, hey, why are you doing things different? But obviously, when you're an experienced player, you'll know exactly what you need when you need it, and you can keep changing back and forth. So the guide is still very good for new players. It's just, obviously, we can't make it dynamic based on what you find. We did find a blacksmith whetstone there, and that gives something called quality on weapons. And quality is useful for a few things. Quality will interact with things like sockets later. Like, it'll be easier to get more sockets as long as there's 20 quality. So that's important at the end game. However, early on, it's used to give more damage. So not very important for our build, but for those that are following my Sunder guide and things like that, then you want 20 quality on your weapons. You can see that our current one is 5. Here's a shrine. They are usually surrounded by monsters, and then they give a buff to monsters until you click it. And then once you click it, you get the buff. So now we're critting, and you can hear like an extra chunky nice sound. And that'll be really, really good for killing the Dweller of the Deep. I'm putting down my totem, moving around it a little bit, and we'll make quick work of this, especially with the crit. See that I'm keeping up, just like moving in a circle around it. With a blue short bow with 3 green, this could be really good for later. The number one thing we're looking for here is attack speed. And now we can just log out. We don't want to use portals for no reason. We log out to character selection and boom. There, we're going to look at the short bow. We can save that for later. We'll save that for later too. And we will identify this later. I don't really need blacksmith whetstones for actual quality on this build. Oh, actually, no, we do. We'll keep that. I was like, you can sell them for 4 wisdoms, but we are actually going to use it because we are using spectral sword until 28, and I want to show you a weapon recipe. So we're going to keep the leather cap. We're going to sell the chainmail, the plate mail, and that's it that we're going to sell right now.
Goodbye.
We are going to look and see if the vendor has changed. It does change a little bit every level, and we're looking for a green, red. They did nerf the vendor recently and made it worse for new players, which I am very against. They used to reset every time you leveled.
Farewell.
Right. There, and then we're gonna allocate Art of the Gladiator. It gives us a bunch of dexterity too. Now we're back to the submerged passage, and we're just going to run where we already continued running. If you want, you can also hold control and remake the instance. Like, just to like not backtrack through monsters you've already killed, but obviously not a really big deal. Now, can't be jerking, so we'll always be picking up like rares and blues at this point. There's an Orb of Transmutation, a pure one, that does also sell for 4 wisdoms, but we're going to use that. And during this playthrough, you might see that I'm running directly through most zones and like knowing exactly where to go. That's just because I've played a lot. That's not super important. You don't need to worry about like learning layouts and things like that. It's not important at all. Very, very overrated thing, but it will obviously speed you up a little bit. When do vendors reset then? So, they never reset anymore. They just like lose some items and gain some items every time you level. They never like fully reset for level anymore. See, so now, we're gonna grab Fury Bolts first. You could grab the life first, but we don't need life that much this early. We're just going to continue through. Forgot TP at stairs? No, I'm not speedrunning right now. I'm teaching new players. No need to do that. Game is overwhelming enough as it is. There, and we're just going to walk through here. This is a zone where you really want to notice that you want to keep moving. It's very easy to get overwhelmed and stomped on. We'll keep using our Quicksilver as we're running, and you'll sort of like get into a nice rhythm. Like just like running through things. If you get stuck, you can just dash out of them. You can just spam dash anyway. Just like keep running through here. Here you see some totems here, and they're either like debuffing me or buffing my enemies. So they're always like bad. We don't like those. They're not our friend. Here's a waypoint. And if you're ever coming back into the zone, let's say that you have to take a break here, or you're coming back in the zone and you don't know what way to go. This little, like these three here are indicating the right way. It's like an arrow pointing in the right direction. And there's actually loads of racing tips like that throughout the game. I'll mention some of the like very, very easy ones, but there's loads of things like that that'll like point you in the right direction or show you where or how to go. Loads of things like that. We now got a medium life flask. We do want to swap to that, so we're going to put that in. That just means that it's like giving you more life than the other one. And flask can be crafted. We're not going to do that at this point, but they can be crafted. Try to like explain as much without making it as complicated. It's a hard series to do. And yeah, generally we're leveling up when we can. Now we're going to grab Fury Bolts, 30% projectile damage and speed, etc. Very nice. Picking up every wisdom we can. You'll see that the Spectral Throw goes a bit further now as well. Rusted Coif. Do we have... We can make room for that. We're going to identify the boots. We're hoping for movement speed. That is like the best thing you can get early. Like speed you up. Now we're about to find Lord Kuduku. We don't need to pick up a quiver. It's a while until we need those. There's a rustic sash. And a coral amulet. Coral amulet's nice early. Gives you a bit of life regen. You say if you've just taken a little bit of damage, you don't need to press your life flask. Life flasks do recover fully when you go to town as well. There, and then we're just going to keep moseying over here. We can start equipping that. And then before Brutus, we're going to do a little upgrade. We're going to see if we can find a rustic sash. Or maybe we'll find an essence to use on our rustic sash. Would be nice. Armor scrap does the same thing as a blacksmith whetstone, but for armor. Keeps quality, which will increase the base defenses. The base defenses is armor, evasion, or energy shield. Energy shield is basically like a little extra life bar that regenerates differently. Armor will be really, really good against small hits from monsters and will just mitigate the damage. And evasion will do like avoiding hits entirely. Okay, so here is an essence. This is an old league mechanic. So from a challenge thing that has gone core and is now just like in the game. And I'll click this freezing shrine and then we're going to fight it. This is the best case scenario for an essence early. This is called a contempt. And essences are similar to another currency that we haven't got yet, which I would have liked to have had before getting this. But an alchemy orb, which we'll find soon, will make an item rare, but everything will be random. It'll have a minimum of 4 stats and a maximum of 6, so anywhere from 4 to 6 stats. When an essence will do the same thing, but it'll guarantee 1 stat. Pick up this amber amulet here. So for a weapon, it'll guarantee that I get a flat physical roll. And a thing that's good for weapons is that they work in conjunction with percentage physical rolls. So if you have flat physical and percentage physical, they'll like buff each other. We'll put down a totem here. This guy does hurt a little bit, but since he's so low, we'll finish him off just to see if we can get any nice gear. We'll pick up a rapier here to like fill our inventory a little bit more. There's another boss we're coming up on here. Don't really need to kill. He's even ripier than the last one. It kills everything. We do want that. We're gonna ditch this stone axe here because we don't care that much about chromes early. Ooh, a lot of monsters. We're gonna grab the first scale gauntlets. Best case scenario here would be having like flat physical or some elemental damage would be nice. On that, life, resist would all be really good. In case we need a lapis amulet, I can't actually remember. He's so low, I might as well finish him off. I couldn't remember Spectral Throw having this much damage early, but it's nice. Let's see, we are level 9, and while going at a slow pace like this, you might be like 10 or 11 even early on. It's very easy to like overkill as a new player. When you're watching speedrunners, they'll generally be under-leveled. And the campaign normally takes, when I'm going through it fast, it takes me 3 to 5 hours, and then for this, it might take 7. But we'll see how we go. Right. What did we want here? I think we want Maim. Yeah, we want Maim. We're going to put that on our Ancestral Protector once we have the sockets for that. We're going to sell these armor scraps for Wisdom Scrolls because we do need a lot of Wisdom Scrolls early and we don't need anything else here. We got attack speed and cold damage. That's great. I don't really care about this leather cap or the jerkin, so we're going to sell that. I don't really want to identify that just because of the socket. I'm trying to be a little bit careful with what we use our wisdoms on early because you don't have that many. So now we have 2 transmutes. We have a contempt. And I am now going to... Perfect. I'm looking for a jade chopper. Now, ideally you would want to find one. But since I have a blacksmith whetstone, and particularly because I have a whispering essence of contempt, I am actually going to... Ooh, that's not bad either though. That's not bad either. That already has 63 physical damage. However, it's kind of unrealistic that you'll be able to buy one like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy a jade chopper for the blacksmith whetstone. Now, ideally, just kill things until you find one. And then what we could do instead, let's say that more realistically, we got a different essence. We didn't get lucky. We didn't get a contempt. What I would do then is I would use that on the rustic sash. And I would sell... it would be like this. This would have to be blue or rare, the rustic sash, and then I would sell the weapon and the whetstone. And this would now turn this blue with a physical damage roll. So this is like a good way to get guaranteed easy damage. However, since we do have enough to do this now, what that means is we have a chance to get a really good weapon with the contempt, because this could give us both a percentage physical damage roll and it guarantees the flat fizz. So exactly what happened here. This isn't a high roll, but this is still a really, really nice weapon early on. We're gonna actually we just need damage. We don't need the resist here from the belt. We can keep that for later, and we can sell that for chrome. And then we have a lapis or an amber amulet. If you find a jade, maybe keep onto that too, because early on you don't fully know what like attributes you're gonna be low on and need. Now this is a half instant mana flask. I hate using those, so I'm actually just going to vendor it for an alteration shard. Let's see. We're going to look at the vendor again because we're looking at a green, red. What we really, really want. That would be nice to buy, but we can't do that. Don't have an armor scrap for that. We're very unlucky here. There's no green, red. And we want... And you could technically like search. Actually, this is green, red. So you could search like, is this? No. I can't remember how to do that now. We're just going to move on. See, and you see that Bestel has a quest for us, but we don't actually need to talk to Bestel. We can be antisocial. We're going to move to the prison. There we go. There's a bunch of blue monsters, and you'll have noticed that there's blue, rare, and unique monsters. Blue monsters give a lot more XP than normal monsters, and rare monsters even more. Ow, 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 I'm frozen. So normally you always want to kill blues because they're not that much more tanky. But they give a lot more XP. There, you'll see our damage has gone up so much now, and now we're getting to our first trial. Oh wait, I'm missing dash. There. We're getting to our first trial. This is traps, and they do percentage-based damage. You'll see they will hurt me quite a lot. So even if I was on a high-level character here, I'd be taking quite a lot of damage. And this is how you choose the ascendancy classes in Path of Exile. So this is like subclasses, that kind of thing. You just jump up here. The archers and scary damage stuff here. We're just killing everything. Now, you see that we found a longbow. We don't really care about any other bow than short bow, and later on it'll be another called grove bow. That's because for the build we're playing, attack speed is super important. The number one thing we care about. So medium mana flask, we're gonna grab that, and we can grab the Goatide gloves just to sell to the vendor. There's the mana flask. Boom. Trial of Ascendancy. And you see that there's 5 more that we need to hit. There is 1 in Act 1, 2 in Act 2, and 3 in Act 3. We're already starting to crush things. And obviously, the more you take your time, the more you slow down, the better you'll feel about everything. Over-leveling is a really, really good thing in Path of Exile. Right now, we're playing something using a weapon. And leveling does not matter as much for that because the majority of my damage is tied to my weapon. Later on, we're going to be playing Explosive Arrow, and there, the damage is tied to the gem itself. And we're just using, we only care about the attack speed pretty much of the bow. So, that means that later on, once we're level 28, over-leveling will give you a huge power spike. There, we're just moseying through here. And I'm trying really hard to make this like my most detailed everything explained that we've done. Or we're gonna like actually like go to maps and stuff, so it's gonna be a long one.
I believe in traveling light.
A unique item, that's not super normal, but it's also a dog shit one. I would probably ignore a good one. We'll just put on the new boots, didn't really give much of an upgrade. Let's throw the old one on the ground. I can't be bothered going and like vendoring or anything right now. If we got a good unique, we just wouldn't use it because it's unrealistic to actually get a good one. If you do get a good unique, that ooh, green, green, red short bow. So I'm actually going to identify this. Hope for attack speed. Didn't get that. I keep it. No, we probably don't. We're just going to keep the chainmail tunic then. So we're prioritizing keeping rare items because they will sell for alteration charge and a lot more than the other one. Here we have another freezing shrine, so we'll pick that up. It'll start damaging enemies, slowing everything. Another contempt. There are 4 or 5 different essences that you can get this early. Getting 2 contempts this early is really, really nice. Then a large mana flask. We'll just switch out my flask for that because this is bigger. Generally, want to like keep upgrading your flasks as you're progressing through the campaign. You'll notice if you have like smalls at this point, it'll be a bit of a pain recovery wise. Don't need a quiver. Oh, it's to the left. But yeah, so uniques, you do have to identify them before selling them. They won't sell for anything. They'll only sell for wisdom scrap. And you can't craft anything. We haven't gotten to crafting yet. That'll be in around end of Act 2. But yeah, it's you can't craft anything on them, and they're very, very static. They do what they do. So, like, if you find a Shackles of the Wretched, it'll always do that. So, this one is completely useless. We would never use that. Right, let's see. Now I'll look at part of the building and I'll see that the build's telling me to go to the right. And then I'm currently on the level 12 section. I'm now moving up to 32. Then we're going to move down first and then up. Could identify the boots now for movement speed. We didn't get that. I also have realized I forgot to explain Orb of Augmentation. So this is specifically for blue items, and it's for items that only have 1 prefix or 1 suffix. So if it has a prefix, it'll add a suffix. Now we're coming up on Brutus. So very, very important to move in a circle here. And Brutus has loads of abilities, but like every boss in Path of Exile, it learns its abilities the more damage. This is actually true for endgame bosses as well. So if you're ever doing, for example, as a quick example, Searing Exarch is an endgame boss. If you're doing this on Searing Exarch, you're going to have the same experience. It'll only auto-attack you in the start. And every boss in Path of Exile is like that, where it learns abilities as it's fighting. So they all start off with like basically nothing, and you can kind of just get comfortable. So you can see how easy it is for me just running around him in a circle. He can never hit me. And now I'll just like put down my totem, and now you'll see that he'll start getting abilities. He has the slam, actually a few. He has one where he hits the ground. He has one where he does like the huge slam, and he has a hook. And that is the 3 abilities he has. You see that I'm just trying to focus on avoid getting hit. Especially by that slam, that'll like very easily one-shot you. And if you die, you have to do like a little run back. We got a rare Jade Chopper. We're going to throw out some gloves to check that. And identify that. And that is pretty nice. 30 to 47 with higher attack speed. So that is actually an upgrade for us. I mean, throw out the old boots, pick up the nailed fist. Actually, we can make room for those because they're chrome. Boom. And now, an interesting thing in Path of Exile, we already have the waypoint for the next zone. So I can log out here. I don't have to run all the way through like what they kind of want you to run through. So, I'm going to sell some items. We do want to sell some things unidentified too, because we do want a bunch of transmutes. You can see here that we're getting a bunch of alchemy shards from selling the unique. I'm going to sell pretty much everything here. You'll notice that I'm selling some things ID'd, some things un-ID'd.
Take care.
Back to Tarkley, and let's see. We're now going to the skill set 12 to 28, which says that I want leap slam. So we're going to grab that. We'll put it in the gloves. And again, it doesn't really matter where you're putting things. We're looking again for green, green, red. We still don't have anything. So hopefully you'll be luckier than this so you can have volley. Would make it feel nicer for clearing. It would make more pop out. Don't think we need anything else. Oh, we're supposed to have war banner. I'll go get that too. And then later we'll get precision.
Yes?
I think we get precision already, do we? Oh, we do. We'll get precision and we'll get war banner.
God hasn't
Don't
abandoned
have
us.
room for the war banner. A bit unlucky with sockets. We should pick up a helmet as well. Just being a bit lazy there. Boom. So, there. I've now activated it, and you'll see that the aura, it gives me a bit of a buff and reserves a portion of my mana that I can no longer access. You see, if I had volley here, it'd be a lot easier to like clear a bunch of the monsters. It would add 2 more projectiles to my attack. So our damage is still fine, but we don't have that much clear. So we really, really want a green, green, red. But our damage is great, as you can see. Gonna keep on running through. And killing the uniques early is pretty good because you will get more items and stuff. Obviously, we have a decent amount of damage right now, and we want to like keep on top of that. So what precision does is it adds accuracy to my skill. Spells do not need accuracy. So if you were playing, for example, a fireball character or something like that, that wouldn't need accuracy at all. But we are a attack build, so we do actually need to physically hit the enemy. And we're running through here. You'll notice I pretty much always care about killing the majority of blue monsters. So blue monsters count as 3 whites, and a yellow or rare monster counts as 5 whites in terms of XP. I will generally always avoid, like, if you see like a stone golem or a bear that's rare, generally they're avoided unless I'm kind of kiting them with me and they're kind of low anyway. But I never want to like stop too long and start like making sure I finish off an enemy. There, we're just going to keep running through here, and you'll notice I'm always trying to pick up waypoints when I can. These are very annoying. See, I'm taking a lot of damage. And then we're in this zone, going to get our second skill point. We've already gotten our first from the Cram, and you will get a bunch of those. You'll get a bunch of those while going through the campaign. Do I even bother with the wood splitter? It is a better base. There are loads of different base types in Path of Exile, which is especially important for attack-based builds like we are early. So that wood splitter would be like a level 12 required level axe, whereas our current one is like level 9. And they'll be different. Sometimes there will be some different stats that are unique to that base type. And then you'll also have like different like levels of attack speed, base damage, etc. There. Moving on with our skill tree. Just running through this. There's the little quest here with a unique monster guarding it. You don't actually need to kill the unique monster. I normally always skip that. I will be killing a lot more than normal, just because that is very nice when you're a new player for gear, XP, everything like that. Ow. Bastard sword. We'll move on. Now, since I have the waypoint, I'm actually going to continue through the zone to the next zone, and then I'm going to waypoint back, just to like keep avoiding a little bit of backtracking. And I know that the next level of the zone is like down here somewhere. And zones are random in Path of Exile, but they're only like a little bit random. There's like less than 40 layouts per zone. So I'm currently at 25,000 hours of Path of Exile. So eventually you just know all of them. And you can recognize them pretty easily. We did find an alchemy as well. This will upgrade a normal item to a rare item, giving it, like I said, up to 4 or 6 stats. Let's see. There's nothing we're buying here. We don't want any of these. But we can sell. We don't really care about these. This is a better base type than what we have. And since we do have a contempt, it's honestly not a bad idea to use this, because this is a low level of contempt. It's only going to give us 2 to 5 damage physical here. So if I use this right now and I hit really high percentage fizz in addition to the flat fizz, that'd be really nice. But we're just going to sell that. Let's see. Do I need to buy anything? I think I need to buy faster attacks. We have a bunch of transmutes. You can see that we have an additional 4. Just looking through the build.
Hello.
I'll buy cruelty here, right? No, I can't remember when you get cruelty. Level 18, that's it. Okay, we have everything we're supposed to have.
Greeting.
We're again checking the vendor, see if we can alleviate some of our socket pressure. We've been very, very unlucky with that. Yeah, literally nothing.
Farewell.
Can't use volley yet. Very annoying. We're now going to go back to the ship graveyard. And now we're just going to run down and to the left here until we find Captain Fairgraves. Now, if you're a completely new player and you didn't know that you don't have to accept quests, you're technically supposed to talk to him first. He's supposed to give you the quest, run into the cave, and pick up the item that he asked you to do, and then he betrays you. But now we're just going straight and like talking. So we're ignoring all of that, and that's really nice. We're going to put Leaf Slam here on spacebar, and we can actually remove dash. We don't really need that anymore. Oh, yeah, there'll be loads of spoilers if you care about the story. This isn't a good series for you. Right now, Spectral Throw is just maim. Or, sorry, it's a chance to bleed and Spectral Throw. Nothing else. Okay, bunch of things here. We can just log out. Log back in. I'll have to watch this when I start. Yeah, this is a good series to like watch alongside your own playthrough. And sell all this. We're getting more transmutes. We're going to need a lot of those. They buff Spectral Throw? No, it's more that they nerfed everything else. There. I'm going to go to Merveil's Caverns. I gave away my heart on the promise of my life. Oh. An interesting feature of movement abilities in Path of Exile that there are probably even some veterans that don't know is that it has an innate cooldown. So if I click spacebar, and you'll feel this yourself very easily, if I click spacebar, it's very instant, right? Still very instant. However, if I do back to back, you'll notice that the second one will have an attack time and will be slower. It's same like this with Flame Dash and other abilities too. And that's because there'll basically be a, as long as you're only using it now and again, it'll be instant. you'll sort of get into a rhythm of it, and you'll see how I'm doing it. But you'll notice that I will like run a little bit and then attack, run a little bit, then attack, and then it'll always be instant. It'll feel really good. You'll get into a habit there. So especially the reason why I'm bothering to kill uniques and stuff, like the unique monsters, is I have very bad socket pressure right now. Like I've been very, very unlucky, which I prefer. I think that's better for a playthrough, because if I'm having a rough time luck-wise, that's a lot better, because that's more authentic, I guess, than if I'm just, you know, getting crazy lucky. That's why we avoid using rare items. There, then I have a lapis. Oh wait, I already have that. We can pick up the rustic sash. Rustic, especially blues and rares, always good to have. The new season is starting in 2 days. I try to do everything explained right before a new season. And right now we're playing in standard, so we're not getting any new league mechanic. There will be a new league mechanic you can explore, and that will give you things. It'll reward you. Sometimes it'll give you uniques very fast. So that's why a lot of people watch myself and other streamers at least start to try to figure out like, wow, can I get some good unique early that I need for my build? Like there have been leagues where you could get some of the best like league starter uniques very easy, like Tabula Rasa, Quill Rain, etc. And I usually like figure that out pretty fast, and we abuse that and share it so that everyone can benefit. Right, so again, we would normally have volley at this point, which would be very nice for clearing. Again, we'll kill all the blues. They're always good just for XP. Night Brigadine. I'm almost tempted to recolor these just to like alleviate my socket pressure, but then I do lose my attack speed and my little bit flat to cold. So that's annoying. I could recolor my chest, but I only have a few chromes and it's not necessarily worth it. It's not that big a deal that we don't have volley. Obviously you can see that it's playing fine without it. Gonna do link right now. At last. There. Right. Merveil. Same thing as every other boss. You run around in circles. She's in a weird spot right now, so I have to backtrack a little bit. Ideally, you never want to backtrack. You can see that, yeah, there's not much she can do. We also don't have any cold resist right now, so all her moves will hurt quite a lot. Getting cold rings before Merveil, which you can buy off the vendor for 3 wisdom scrolls, is really, really good, especially for a new player. You see that I'm focusing really hard on moving around her in circles. She has like that like ice attack, and then she does like a blizzard attack. Looks like a Warcraft 2 blizzard. And she summons ads. More like geysers from the ground. We're just focusing on moving a lot. You'll notice that I'm very rarely like standing completely still and attacking. And if you die, we'll probably die on purpose a few times to show. That is completely fine as well. This is a good place to die because you spawn just straight up over there. Every 25% she summons ads, and then she just screams while you're close. She's very angry. There, you get a bunch of rare items for seeing. Is there anything we need here? We definitely want the boots because boots are important. So we'll identify those. They are like quite nice. Fine. They're quite nice. We do wish that it was movement speed on it. I'm gonna pick up one more rare item. I'm kind of out of space. I'm gonna ditch those two. You'll notice I do try to pick up a lot of rares to get a bunch of transmutes, and we're going to be using that at the end of this act. We're now in Act 2, and that's going to be for crafting. Now, if I throw the totem out like I just did there and then run away from it, it will stop attacking once I'm like off screen from it. You can't like just like have it like finish off every monster for you. So once we get to like Act 4, maybe we'll try to like speed up quite a lot to make the video shorter. Okay.
I'm starting to think there's more to
And
life than
the item
prize or
filter that we've
perish.
downloaded will eventually start like hiding things. So you'll stop seeing white items eventually. And it's very advanced. So it'll generally like show you things like sockets and links. And it'll focus on like blues and rares. Eventually blues will be hidden as well. There's way too many items dropping by the way, Exile. Right, we're in town. Sell everything here unID'd. I wish I had more wisdoms. That's okay. Wait, this I really want to ID this because this is already rare, so it could be decent. What I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna sell 3 of my portal scrolls. We've been avoiding using portal scrolls anyway. I'm gonna sell those. This is really nice. This is a huge upgrade anyway. We're now going to use chromatic orbs to change the colors. Now, since this is a dexterity base, it's more likely to have greens, but it can still get blues and reds. There's a blue, unlucky. There's one red, and now we finally have the colors we want. Put leaf slam in the boots, and then we're going to do volley. And if we want, we can swap in faster attacks instead of volley for more damage for single target. I'm going to do chance to bleed here. So now we have volley, chance to bleed, and spectral thrown. It doesn't really matter what comes first and stuff for these gems. Then we are also going to do maim. We're going to put maim with ancestral protector. What maim does is enemies maimed by supporters heals take 10% increased physical damage. And then the volley, what it does is it gives 2 more. Let's see, we also have room for our war banner now. We can move this to our second bar because we don't need to have it, right? We can just have it there. Then we can have a war banner here. That does have active uses, but we're just going to keep it on passively. There, moving down to dexterity here. So now you'll see that we're throwing 3 and they're like going perpendicular in a line. There's another similar support called lesser multiple projectiles. This is the same thing, but they don't move like perpendicular to each other. Alteration. I think that's our first natural drop. You'll see that our clear speed is so much nicer now. The Jade Amulet. Then we have all 3 amulets in case we need attributes. The League coming up will mess with your attributes, so it might be even more imperative. Portal Scroll. You can never decide between LMB and Molly, yeah. Wait, what did I not say parallel? Oh, perpendicular. Wait, that means the same thing, no? Okay. Anyway, Iron Staff, getting a lot of uniques. See there. Right, let's see. We didn't find the den while running through, so we'll go back for that. It's a little bit annoying. That'll give us an extra quicksilver. That means it's most likely going to be here on the right. No. Oh, I did see it. I just didn't go in it. I just didn't go in it. There. Little side quest here. Inventory management looks stressful. I'm the kind of guy that looks at everything. That's very, very normal. When I was a new player, I would pick up every single item, identify every single item, go back to town, etc. So that's why I was saying that you will be a lot more over level than I am. Like, it's pretty normal to be like 18 to 20 here for a new player. And I also would pick up like every single gem, like red gem, green gem, blue gem, everything. Very, very normal when you're a new player, because you always you have a fear of missing out. Again, the thing that I would say to dissuade you from having fear of missing out there is you're most likely going to be playing the challenge leagues. Everything is wiping in 3 months anyway. So you're just learning. It really doesn't matter. You're not going to miss out on anything important, no matter what. Like, even best case scenario and you get the best item in the game that you could possibly get, you're really not missing out on anything because it's all getting reset anyway. That's why that's such a nice thing about playing those. This is Spectral Throw. We're gonna identify the Iron Staff. That'll probably give us a alchemy. Now we have 2 alchemies. We're doing really good on currency. We're a little bit bad on wisdoms. See if there's a nice helmet with some good pressure or sockets. Movement speed boots for sale there, but already using that right now. We have such good boots. And they have an open prefix, which I can use to do a crafting lesson at the end of this act. Now, normally, if you're a player that's watching just to like learn something, but you've already played Path of Exile before, you will already have access to the crafting bench, and you can already go craft on white items resists, and that's very good. I would normally do that. Now, for some reason, you don't actually get access to the crafting bench until the end of this act, which is technically a little bit later than it should be. I guess we're trying not to overwhelm people, but it would be nice if you got the hideout at the end of Act 1 instead. Now, next level, we're about to get a huge damage boost, and we're about to explain our first keystone. That'll be pretty exciting. This is a nice warm-up for me too, because it's like I'm so rusty with Path of Exile. Here's another one of those like neat little tricks. Like, this is pointing in the direction you want to go. This room is like an arrow, so I know that the entrance, you could put $1 billion that the entrance is here. There's loads of nice little things like that. When should you drop precision? You drop that once you drop the keystone we're about to explain next level. Or generally you drop precision when you get your last ascendancy that has taunt in this. We'll cover that later for newer players. Here is a Rogue Exile, so that's us. Rogue Exiles is like, you know, basically the same as us, but they're against us. And a Rogue Exile drops a full gear set. So a Rogue Exile will drop at least 2 rings, an amulet, a helmet, chest, gloves, boots, belt, and a weapon, and then some extra stuff. You'll see that here now that it has dropped a bunch of stuff for us. We can pick up the boots, picking up every rare, and a portal scroll. I played since 2013, and I never knew that. Most people don't. Here we're coming up on another trial. And you do only need to run these once per league. So while you do have to run the campaign once every character, you only need to run this once. Now, having always attack without moving and leap time is really, really important, because you'll awkwardly move towards things if you don't have that on. And notice I'm always trying to pick up every wisdom. And like weak rares like this is really, really nice. Now, if we look at the rare, you'll see that it has some stats. Overwhelm, physical reduction, and minions cold explode on death. So there's loads of different stats that monsters can have that'll make them rippy and dangerous. There. We're now going to identify these rings. We're hoping for resists and life. I'm going to remove the iron ring here. Going to start working on our resists. So now we have 29, 49, 21. That's very good for our act. Now, if I was playing normally, I would be rest capped already. But I want to like simulate the whole new player experience. So we don't have access to, for example, Scion, and we don't have access to the crafting bench already. I think a lot of people forget that new players don't have access to Scion. So this is another strongbox. We can identify it because it could be a scary one where it could freeze me when I open it, and that is basically instant death early on. You could just log out, you will disappear instantly, but then you do have to do a lot of running back, so you really want to avoid that. Killing the strongboxes early on obviously gives you a bunch of monsters, and it'll be pretty rewarding and give you a bunch of rares. Greater life blast. Ow. We don't really have room for anything else there. Just throw that in. We're just gonna keep moseying over towards the end. Oh. Scary monsters. Loads of blues. We're getting very lucky on blues, which is great. So we're going to be doing great on XP. Greater mana we already have. This is like, the build I'm playing now is what I'm going to be league starting. And it's like one of my favorite. It's like so strong. It's really good even in SSF. It does have some issues that are solvable in SSF. But very, very strong, and I've done like all the endgame bosses and stuff. How do you rescue up so early? So normally you have access to the crafting bench since it wouldn't be your first character, and then you can craft on white gear. So first keystone, precise technique. It's 40% more attack damage if accuracy rating is higher than your maximum life. Then we'll click C, click on the skill. This is very important because sometimes it could be different than your default attack. So whenever you're looking at something, you always want to make sure they have highlighted the skill that you care about. Main hand accuracy rating 811, my life 393. So we just got 40% more damage. And in Path of Exile, the difference between more and increased is very large. More is like a more multiplier that are multiplicative with itself, and increased is additive with itself. And yeah, it's just not as strong. Anytime you can get a more multiplier, that is a large amount of damage. There, we don't really have room for anything here. I mean, we could make room for one more wand. Notice I do care a decent amount early about getting a lot of like wisdoms and alterations, transmutes, etc. Right, we can put the helmet on, so we'll identify that. Doesn't really matter. We're gonna grab Herald of Ash. Really wish I had an extra red socket. And a vendor. Some things ID'd, some things un-ID'd. Now, if you don't have any like good rings and stuff like that, I'll show you the cool little recipe. And that is, for example, a iron ring with a double strike. This will now make a topaz. So if I really needed that, and then obviously I could do a red gem or a blue gem for the other ones. Very, very nice. You do have the ability to swap out volley for faster attacks. We'll be doing that for the end boss of the act. Other than that, we don't really need it. Okay, we're gonna see if there's like a nice helmet with some reds. I'm too lazy. I don't think we bother. What I'm gonna do instead is I'm just gonna throw one chrome on the axe here because that's almost guaranteed to give a red. Then I have Herald of Ash. So just to go over quickly the gems we're using, Herald of Ash, and then here's our spectral throw with volley, chance to bleed. We have precision, ancestral protector, maim, war banner, and leap slam. And if I move something, it'll turn that aura off. So be careful that if you've moved a gem around, you might be running around without something. So there. You'll see I'm reserving quite a lot of my mana now. If it gets annoying, you could turn off Herald of Ash, for instance. You'll notice now with Herald of Ash, it's adding a bunch of fire damage to my attack, and it's doing like these nice little explosions whenever I kill something. Very, very nice for clear. It just feels good and looks good. I pick up the goat-tied boots. We're gonna identify those. Especially later, I'll try to like talk about what I'm looking for on items. So right now, this didn't have movement speed, and it has like basically the same resist as the one I have. And what's important, and this will be the crafting lesson at the end of the act, is that the boot I have is an open prefix, and that's we're gonna show how to craft with that. You'll notice like these blues as well, they have like overwhelm physical reduction. So if we're a character that focuses on being tanky against physical, they will like really mow you down. Then we're gonna look at path of building again, and we're gonna see what am I doing next. Well, I know that I'm actually like I am being told to go for bow nodes, but I don't have a bow yet, and that's because we're kind of preparing for the bow swap. So what we can do early on is we go for Weathered Hunter, because that'll affect everything anyway, and give us some resist early, and then we'll take the bow nodes next, and that'll be around completed by the time we're level 28. Straight in, these are called the bandits, so you can help or kill, you can help one bandit or kill all of them. Generally, nearly every build kills everything at the moment. There are some exceptions that help Alira. And by killing all of them, we're getting 2 additional skill points. The helping rewards are simply just not good enough right now. Now, you can see that I have a war banner. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to drop it. And since I had 50 stacks on it, that'll give a nice little damage boost. I do have to turn it back on after.
Your mind wasn't as swift as your blade.
But it basically like places the banner as like a little buff. There, and then we're also going to talk to Silk. He will give us... Wait, I'm confused. Oh, whoops. Sorry, not Silk. We're going to talk to Yenna. We're going to pick up another Quicksilver so that we have 2, and we're going to identify that. It didn't have any good stats, but that's fine. Don't really care too much about our flask early on. Now we're done. Oh, actually, we're not done. Normally we're done, but I do actually need to. Well, you need to do this for the start anyway. This is good. I'm going to run to the right here because we have another trial that we need to grab.
Ready, Exile? It is time to hunt!
Oh, you just did happen to me at the start of a league and I had to queue again? Yeah. Annoying. Everyone accidentally log out. So, we have now found beasts. That is another league mechanic that has made it core into the game. So this like used to be a challenge league and now it's core. And these are good to kill. And whenever you start fighting them, Einar will eventually appear and capture the beast. They are very, very dangerous. As you can see, it's taking a while to kill this guy. I'll just like kind of like kite him with me while moving through the zone. And then you can see there's like an aura making like everything around him do more physical damage. Getting loads of chance orbs. I'm a very good Exile. Being rewarded with loads of chance orbs. If I was in New Zealand right now, I'd be very happy. Boom. And then it'll pop up and tell you what it does, what it's for. I'll pick that up because it takes a little slow. There, we're going to identify this. It is not very good. It's just a bunch of elemental damage. We're generally looking for physical. So we are. Duration, getting really lucky with currency at least, so that's something. Generally, in a Path of Exile playthrough, there are exceptions. I have had one league where I felt like I was just getting unlucky on everything, but out of like the 50 leagues I've played, I've only had one league where I felt like, wow, I'm really getting screwed this league. Normally, you will always be like lucky in some areas and unlucky in others. So it'll be surprisingly balanced. It'll be surprisingly balanced, I would say. 2 more levels. We're going to learn about masteries. I can't remember if it was Calandra. It might have been Calandra. I was getting screwed. There's another essence. So now I'll click this unidentified. Very scary. That could have frozen me and killed me, which would have been a good lesson. Fusing. This is really good as well. Turn that into a chance orb if you don't have any. Here we're fighting another essence. This is a greed, so this guarantees life. It's generally what this is used for. So you wouldn't use this on a weapon. That just gives like physical attack leech. You don't care about. What you do care about, however, is guaranteeing life on gear. We just got a Chaos Orb. This is very early to get a Chaos Orb, but we might as well explain it. It is basically the counterpart to the Alchemy Orb. And what that does is it will re-roll a rare item. So I could use it on this Wood Splitter, and it has a chance to make it really good. It'll have at least a minimum of 4 stats and up to 6. And that is like the mainstay currency. That's like what's used the most to trade for like lower things. And then you have Divine Orbs at the end game. So potentially not even cover much. Now you'll notice we are starting to get a decent amount of wisdoms and portals and stuff. We're not as starved as we are in Act 1. Later, this won't be a problem at all. Okay, maybe a better helmet. Not really. I don't care about changing. Okay, we'll run through the traps. Now, I think that's really, really important. I might die showing this, but you'll notice if I'm running straight through traps, they're not too bad. But if I like start panicking and trailing it, that's generally how you die. And in general, traps don't have enough surface area to kill you. So if you're literally just like sprinting through it, generally you'll take very, very little damage if you hit at all. So it's always the panic that gets you.
My spirit is spent.
Is it?
Shine boldly, so that all may find you
There.
when the night falls.
I am now level 19. There. And then we're just going to vendor everything here. We don't need any of this. We don't care about any of that. Boom. There was no quest that we were doing there. And we don't want to talk to Einar. The reason you don't want to talk to Einar this early is if you haven't talked to him, he'll appear at the start of a lot of zones. And if you talk to him, he'll come with you and help you fight bosses. So this is like sort of abused by speedrunners early on where they won't talk to him. The only time I'll talk to Einar is if I get a beast. See if we... So the red beast that we got at the moment will give you a stack of 4 jeweler orbs, which isn't very important. I don't care about that right now. Whereas it could give any unique item. It's a different cram, or it could give you like unique body armor, and those things, they can be very useful, especially like unique ring early on. We'll have some really, really good things. Or unique bow could be huge. So I will be looking out for that, and that would cause me to be like, yeah, I'll talk to Einar and make him not appear at the start of the zone. But other than that, I will just like keep him unspoken to. So to use them, you also need a bunch of yellow beasts. There's like the red beasts are what choose what the reward is, and yellow beasts are like filler, like fuel. You generally not pick up blues. I pick up a lot of blues in Act 1 and then less and less in Act 2. It depends how many transmutes and stuff I have. Because I already have 7 transmutes. And not too big a deal. I will pick up like some that are like 4 slots and stuff. But I especially don't pick up things that are like 8 slots, etc. This is a tanky dude.
Do not worry, little beast.
I'll pick up so I get nicer chrome. The problem with picking up like everything, and somebody's gonna take this personally, but you'll end up spending so much time in town, and it'll take you so long. It slows down people so much, and it's like people are scared of missing out. Like, well, what if it's a really good item? It's like blues are never gonna be a really good item, so don't worry about that. And you generally want to pick up most rares. Now, here's another neat trick. So in this zone, we're looking for Elira, and she's on the side of the waypoint, and then the spider forest that we're going to go into next is on the other side of the road of the waypoint. And we're also, on top of that, looking for a little like light, little break in the road, and that'll indicate the road to Elira. So it's very, very easy to find. Loads of like nice like pathfinding tips and tricks that sometimes even veteran players don't know. Here, we'll level up that. So what are we struggling with now? We're struggling on level. We're struggling on strength. Take Weathered Hunter here. We could also just take beef. It's not bad early. Like if you're having stat issues, you do have these. Even if the build guide doesn't call for it, like putting in a point in stat requirements early can be really, really nice. And then you have things like the amber amulet in our inventory we could use. Was it here? Yeah. So here you can see there's a torch here, and there's a break in the road, and then we know that's the path to Elira. But yeah, you can always just assign whenever you need stats. That's like always hard to like see in a build guide, like when you're gonna need to actually put them in. We just follow this like broken cobbled road, and then we'll eventually find Elira. We're gonna kill her, murder her dead. These others, they're just levels. Kill Elira here. And again, we can use, on bosses, we can use the drop the war banner, and that'll give us adrenaline for like 2 seconds, something like that. And that's a buff that increases our damage by 100%, so it's a huge damage boost early. Very, very nice. Now, we don't want to go too hard on upgrading our weapon, but we do also want to find like a happy medium. But we do want to upgrade it every few bases, basically. Here's Captain Artillery. So this is another quest. And again, you'll notice that I haven't accepted any of these quests. This isn't something I've like talked to anyone to get. They're just like, they just exist. Exit to character selection. And we're going to go back to Act 1. This gives us another skill point.
What troubles you bring?
We'll render all of this. Good stuff.
Going.
Now to 8 transmutes. We're back to Act 1. Explosive I can do all content. I've done all content on it myself. Talk to Bestel.
Not quite fair, Greg.
And then we got a skill point and oops. And another skill point. So now you should have 3 skill points. You can do Inta, right, /passives. Should now show you Dweller of the Deep, Maroon Mariner, and The Way Forward. And once you have killed the Act 10 boss, Kitava, it will show you if you missed any. So we're gonna grab Thick Skin here. And then we are now going to kill Weaver. We're just going to move to the right. We already know that this is the direction. My damage is starting to fall off a little bit as well. Gonna to upgrade for a bit. It's done. There. These videos are awesome. Very good idea. Thanks. A lot of criticism when I started doing them. People said no one's going to watch 7-hour videos. Then they started hitting like 300,000 views, and I was like, yay! People do watch them. People just like different things. Not everybody wants short videos, not everybody wants long ones. Double two-handed sword, that's nice. So this could be a very good upgrade for me. Got 2. Toughest ring that we don't need, so we're gonna identify these and we're gonna hoping for flat physical and percentage physical. We didn't get anything good here and we don't have access to a crafting bench, so they're just alteration food. I'm gonna go all the way to the left here, which is where we'll find the boss. Sometimes it's in the right, sometimes it's in the top. This boss can be a bit of a pain. You want to stay close to her, and you guessed it, run in circles around her. See. We can use any two-handed weapon, so we could actually use the iron staff if it's really good. Spectral throw. Ooh. Like slowed. Ow. Now these filler monsters sadly don't give XP. You'll notice my XP bar isn't moving. Check what that staff is. 36 to 94 damage. That's actually an upgrade. It's got flat fizz, it's got percentage fizz, it's a very, very good weapon. Ow. And again, the build is a bit of a pain early on, so getting weapon upgrades is really good. I'll ditch the calling one because we really do need the quest reward here, very important. We're going to leave to character select, and then we're going to go back to town. And now we're starting to get cruelty.
Hello.
There, we're going to sell items. We'll sell those. We'll sell that unID'd. And now we're going to switch to this weapon. So we can see by hovering over the tooltip, we went from 156 damage to 236. Tooltips aren't always accurate, but it's probably fine in this case.
Return if you
We're going to talk to Aramir. Oh wait, we have to kill Oak first. We're going to talk to Silk, and then we're going to get Cruelty. We don't have a foiling currently, so we can't use that. Other than that, we have everything that is in this. So Helena is who's going to give us a hideout soon. We're getting close to that, and then we'll teach some crafting. You can unlock your hideout now, I think, as well. Nope. Gotta get to Northern Forest. Did it very late. The hour is late. Now we're gonna kill Oak. He's very scary. He's healing. You'll notice our damage has gone up a decent amount now from that weapon upgrade. So again, really want to look for like a high physical weapon. I'm just looking at like the attack speed and the physical damage in blue. And the combination of the fact that you can look at your tooltip gives you a pretty good indication of what's an upgrade or not. High attack speed is generally really sought after. Feels better. It's a lot easier to animation cancel your own shit if you have low attack speed. Let's see. We can now grab a life mastery. So the way masteries work... I don't get attacked here. The way masteries work is once you've clicked the notable, then you can select something. So I can now select 50 life. It's a very cool system. It now gave me a total of 70 life. That's because that flat life gets affected by my percentage life. We're going to put down the Ancestral Protector, and we're going to go to town on Oak here. Be quite scary. Put down my war banner for a little burst. See that in the like top left, it'll be like a red icon that lasts for 2 seconds. He does heal as well, so he can like take a while to kill. But yeah, worst case snenario, you die and you try again.
Shame we have only the trees for audience.
There, and now we're gonna move on to the next zone. We're getting close to getting our first hideout. Then over here is the waypoint. Gotta go to town. We gotta pick up the Apex. Aramir. Boom. Yeah, you need to put down War Banner to get the adrenaline damage. You like charge it up basically. Now, there are accuracy things that we can take later. So an accuracy mastery that is the dexterity bonus adds 3 instead of 2. So this is a good time to talk about this. It's a bit overwhelming to talk about earlier. So dexterity, strength, and int all have bonuses. 1 dexterity equals 2 flat accuracy, and 5 dexterity equals 1% evasion. 2 strength equals 1 life. Flat life, not percentage. And 5 strength equals 1% melee physical damage. Intelligence equals mana, and 5 int equals 1% energy shield. So this will change that bonus, which is really nice. That if I am ever... so right now in town, the precision isn't active. So I probably have like 1,000 accuracy right now. So we don't have to worry at all. But if I, for example, had 700 life right now and precision was active, I would need to take that mastery to make sure that my flat accuracy number was higher. So we're going to continue to the wetlands, and we're going to go into one of the most convoluted zones in the game. A lot of people don't like this zone. We're going to move up here. We could take the bow nodes too. It doesn't really matter. I usually like taking Sentinel first, just to get some resist early, and then I take all the bow nodes. So hopefully I'll run pretty straightforward in this zone, but this is... You'll have a lot of new players who are like full clearing this zone. It's a bit of a rough zone. Bit of a rough zone. Sort of get used to it eventually, but even as an experienced player, you can very easily run into loads of dead ends. And while side areas, which I haven't had to explain before, can spawn, and that'll screw up the entire layout. Been very annoying for a lot of racers. Boss side areas are dangerous, rippy areas with a boss at the end, which will corrupt items at the end, which I don't plan to cover until later in the session. But they'll be like different and modified items. They are like okay to do early. Obviously, like as I said, this build does benefit a lot, especially later, from over leveling. So there's nothing wrong with like full clearing a lot and doing things like Val side areas. There's not really any Val skill that we care about. Val skills are different than normal, and they use the souls of your enemies to cast instead of mana. Here, we're gonna keep moving. This is also like a fairly rippy zone. All the monsters are like kind of dangerous here. And our damage is now, the next knows, honestly going to be quite poor. We only have to kill one more boss, and that's like the act zone boss of this act, before we switch to explosive arrow. Here, we're going to keep moving through. Getting a decent amount of currency. Getting everything we need. Haven't gotten many items. Thank you. Oh, this is actually a dead end. Almost ran straight through it. Not too bad, at least. What's done? It's very, very easy to get super stuck here and full clear the entire damn thing. As you can see, we run like pretty straightforward to it. But there's like a lot of areas up here, and you can get pretty lost. Also, again, for those watching on Twitch, obviously I'm not answering too many questions
Well, this can't be good.
right now, unless they're relevant to what I'm doing. But hopefully other people in chat can answer that. I also have alerts turned off. I think they appear on screen, but I have audio turned off just to make it a better viewing experience for people that are here for the Everything Explained. Will they do League Start practice tomorrow maybe, and then I can do more questions there. So, we have Einar, we have the waypoint, and this is a really good XP zone. So if you for some reason are under leveled, this is a good zone to do that like control click thing I taught you guys. To reset the zone and farm. Might as well kill this guy because he's going to follow me for a while. This used to be one of the most dangerous monsters in Path of Exile. Been nerfed quite a lot. Getting a lot of chance orbs. 5. Here's a Val side area. We're gonna skip those. We don't really need it. Chests can be very rippy. Again, just be very careful. And here we're going into a side area called the Dread Thicket, and this is where we're going to find our hideout. You only need to do this one time ever. But that's why I made a fresh account, because a lot of people, when they're doing things like that, they kind of forget that new players don't have a hideout. So they get, like, new players get really confused when the streamer's just like suddenly in Act 1 crafting. They're like, wait, how do I access this place? So that's why I do like doing a new account for this. It does end up taking a bit longer, but hopefully it makes it as basic as possible. There is the hideout. That's what we're looking for. Why no spectrals for MTX? I have no MTX, no stash tabs. This is a fresh account. See, is it just levels? Yeah, once we hit level 24, we can level those up. This will happen a lot more now, because a reward that can happen when you kill rare monsters is that you get a bunch of gem experience. So they'll generally be over leveled. Now you have to kill every monster in here, and once you've done that, you can talk to Helena, and she will give you a hideout. We're going to pick up that life flask. Like I said, upgrading your flasks is pretty important. Few unique monsters in here we need to kill. Getting some loot at least. Hideout unlocked, a lush hideout. I guess it doesn't count the drop bears, because that would be annoying. Fun little tidbit fact, these were actually added by a supporter who paid $5,000 or $10,000 to add them to the game. A lot of people don't like them because they kind of like drop down on you and can kill you.
Curious.
Create hideout. Boom! We now have our first hideout, and this means we're able to craft. So we'll get a waypoint, crafting bench. Don't have a vendor in our hideout right now, but what we can do now is we can hold Alt on our items, and this will show you different things. Like, we know that we don't have a suffix open here. Resists are always the suffix. So the belt, however, does have a suffix. So we can craft a lightning resist. We don't need any cold. We can craft a lightning resist right now. And then we can craft nothing on my boots, nothing on my ring, nothing on this ring, but we can craft on this chest. Again, remember, you can craft on white items. Very powerful. We don't care about this anymore, and we were struggling a little. Well, we're probably gonna struggle with int, so we'll do that. We'll craft fire resist here. For people watching on Twitch, I have to play ads soon. Usually take a break while playing ads, but not during this. So if you're watching on Twitch now, is not a bad time to take a break. There. I'm gonna go to town and vendor while I'm playing ads. There, we're going to talk to Groost. Let's see, did we get any other beast? No, we haven't gotten any other good red beast yet. We're going to vendor all of this. We are going to look at the boots. We finally got movement speed, then we are going to switch to those. You'll notice a huge improvement in my character.
Going?
There. I think that's pretty much everything we could do right now. Now, I'm going to remake the Northern Forest because I don't want to backtrack through all of that without getting a bunch of kills. I can just remake the zone and kill. Can you enchant the boots? Soon. Well, I was going to enchant the other ones. And give them movement speed. That was going to be the first crafting lesson. But we don't have movement speed yet. We get that in whatever, the caverns, at the end of the caverns. And our new boots just have movement speed. So you can see I'm so much more fast now. Very, very nice. I'm just zooming through. Absolute zoomer. Oh, this is a dead end. Not zooming. We have good damage. We are going to probably be a little bit low on damage for the boss. This build does struggle on damage early because the leveling portion of the build with like splitting steel, etc. kept getting nerfed. It used to be really strong, honestly. It used to feel really good, but it kept getting nerfed. It doesn't like matter. past level 28, but the early game might be a little bit slow. That's fine. We will struggle through the start. We're also looking for the red beast. It would be lovely to get like a really nice unique. I would just show it. I wouldn't actually use it because anyone watching at home might not get a really good unique. So for example, if I get a quill rain, which would be the best thing, I won't use that because it's unlikely that everyone is going to get that. It's quite rare. If you're playing on Trade League, however, you might get lucky at something somebody else will need, and then you can get the quill rain. The pole axe. We're 25, so we can actually get a Val axe. Let's see. Huh. There. Now we have Sentinel. Now I'm going to start taking bow nodes next. We'll go to town and we're going to look for a bit of a weapon upgrade. We do have a contempt. It's kind of low though. Might be low flat fizz. It might be enough though. We'll do a little bit of crafting before the boss, just to like tide us over and make sure we have a good boss experience. We're gonna look and see if we can find something called the double axe. It would be great to drop one so we don't have to spend a transmute on buying one. New question, what happens at level 28? I am going to swap my build to explosive arrows so that like short bow that we kept from Act 1 is going to come into play. The reason we kept one from Act 1 is short bow is a low level base, right? You can get it already at level 5, and what that means is the higher up you get, the further into the game you get, the rarer that'll be. So once you're actually playing at the end game, short bows are incredibly rare. You might only get one single short bow, like literally a white one. I'm not talking about a special one. Just the base itself, and on a high level, you might only get like once every few weeks of playing. It's that rare. And that's because they've like recently done something called like culling of loot. Because Path of Exile just had so many drops, right, that nobody ever uses. So it's like a byproduct of that. But at the end game, we do actually want that. Not super important right now why, but why we picked one up early. But we will get other things more common like Grow Bow and Thicket Bow. They are all basically the same base, but if you're a Diablo player, it's the same as like a Nightmare and Hell base. They look the same, they have the same attack speed, but they have like higher dex requirements and higher flat physical damage, which we don't care about the physical damage. Why we only care about the attack speed, and we also care about something called item level, which we will cover later. Some rings, 2 stone rings, that's nice. Identify this as life and no open suffix, so it's kind of meh, we don't really care about it. Also, like normally these sessions end up getting cut short a bit, that's why I end them in Act 9, so you should get hungry and stuff. I actually have snacks this time to make sure I can like make it a long one. So that would be nice. This is a ghost, very annoying mechanic, I'm not a big fan. It'll possess monsters and rares and uniques, so it can be scary to have around bosses. You could actually possess this boss here and make it very dangerous. It'll give like different buffs. Here are crafting recipes. I might not have mentioned those, but you just click them and then this goes into your crafting bench, and now you have the ability to use that. See, we'll start taking some bow damage nodes now. There. Now, there are like optimal places to stand with Spectral Throw. You'll see that it like stands still for a little bit, so you can like try to like stand perfectly there with the boss. Oh, and I can, oh, scary. I will swap out my volley support with faster attacks for more damage on this boss. You'll notice, ow. Notice we don't have a crazy amount of damage. I want to make sure my totem is up. And I am out of mana. So what do we do now? Now I go to town with a portal scroll to refresh my mana instead of like sitting there and waiting for the regen. There. All done. That wasn't too bad. And I kind of forgot about the fact that I said I was going to go get a weapon upgrade before doing the boss. But we didn't really need that anyway. Like I said, if you want to, getting a Val axe, or sorry, not Val axe, it's called a double axe. We probably have access to. One of these would help a lot early. But we are pretty close to switching to explosive arrow, so I don't need to. This ring is really, really nice. I'll explain why in a second. We're also going to look at the helmet. That's also really, really nice. And then we're going to vendor those. So, this ring has all resist and cold resist. So we're going to, boom, put that in there. It's just better. We're now resist capped already. 76, 90, 101. And this helmet, let's see, we can put precision in the boots. We're going to have to re-enable that. This helmet is an open suffix. So what that means now is I don't need to craft anything on that right now. But maybe I will need more resist. We do lose resist in Act 5. And I can then fix my resist again. Precision back on. Do I even need precision? Oh, I don't actually need precision right now. So I will keep that off just to have more mana, just for quality of life. Because right now I'm accuracy capped and I have enough accuracy that it's not a problem for my precise technique. So it gives me a little bit more mana. It's on my second bar. Quick little tip as well. If you want to access the second bar, it's control to access it, but you don't actually need that. So I'm holding control right now. You can see that I have Q for precision right now, right? So if I press Q now, you can see that I'm not activating control with the second bar. I just click Q. So you can rebind things to the second bar there. So sometimes I might have, for example, my movement ability on mouse button 5. I quite like that. And a lot of times I'll get asked like, Scissorin, how are you using Flame Dash? It's not on your bar. That's, yeah, because of that. Now, Clarissa is the only thing in the game pretty much that you need to talk to. You need to kill the captain guarding her and then you can talk to her. Right. Now that we're in Act 3, you guys are getting ready for a few more explanations. I tried it. It's hard to, like, I can't script these episodes. They're too long. So I tried just to be careful about not overwhelming everything. So far, we'll go over all the gems for using and stuff. So right now we have Spectral Throw, and if I hover over Spectral Throw, you can see that both the chance to bleed and volley are being highlighted. The chance to bleed is adding flat physical, which is just making me do more damage. It's giving a chance for things to bleed, and the volley is doing the 2 additional projectiles, but I'm doing slightly less damage, but it's very, very nice. We keep it anyway. The Herald of Ash gives me a bunch of fire damage and that like boom, nice explosion you see. And we have Ancestral Protector. It gives a speed buff. It does also hit itself. And then we're also using it because of Maim, which is enemies take more damage. On top of that, we have the War Banner. This is giving us a bit of accuracy buff, etc. And nearby enemies take more damage. But we can throw it down with the charges for giving like 2 seconds of the Adrenaline buff, which is 100% increased physical damage. Leap Slam is that nice movement ability I'm using, jumps around, and Precision is that buff giving accuracy. Gonna keep running through here. We're gonna turn Precision back on. Boom. We're just slaying everything. So now we need to go find a boss called Gravicius. Gravicus? Something like that. And once we find him, we can switch to Explosive Arrow. That'll be huge. Whispering Essence of Woe. This is great. And if you've already found one of these, you, well, I probably should have mentioned that earlier. It's not the end of the world. But keeping one of these for when you switch to Explosive Arrow is really nice. Because what Whispering Essence of Woe does on a bow, sorry, on a quiver, is it gives guaranteed damage with bows. So it's really nice. We just got a 4-link, our first 4-link. Very, very nice. Kind of bad colors. I don't know if we'll be able to use it. What are we using later? Explosive Arrow. Yeah, we need green, green, red, red, so Not helpful. Whoa on a bow. There. Now we're in the crematorium. We have the waypoint, and there is a trial in here. So we now have 3 trials? Yeah, we have 3 trials. This is our 4th. Then we're gonna find piety again. The story is pretty cool in Path of Exile. It's basically a bunch of short stories. There's loads of cool lore series and stuff. But generally not why most people play this type of game. There, we'll just grab that. We can be killing that guy.
By the flames
Now,
of the
we
past.
could also log out because we do have to go back to the waypoint, but it's not too far. You don't always have to. This is a bit of a... I don't really have any good tricks for this layout. It's more of a layout that sort of like makes sense in my head. Not something I would like be able to explain to people. You just kind of know it half the time anyway. Sometimes you just sort of know things. Not everything has like a proper trick. Will this be his league starter? Yes, sir.
That somber expression doesn't become those fetching features at all. Cheer
Another
up and
crafting
dance
bench.
with me.
A lot of these you don't
Don't be
need, but obviously it
shy,
doesn't hurt
duelist.
to pick them up.
Touch me.
Oh yeah, Piety and the Duelist used to be dating. So you're killing your ex. You'll be fighting her a lot. There.
Enough of this.
Portal out. Now we're getting to the point where you can start using portal scrolls because you should have like 10 to 20. Could again just log out like we have been doing.
I need.
I will keep those. Sell everything else. We do have a frenzy set up that we could use them on. Let me keep running, and you'll see I'm ignoring everybody in town. I don't care about your shitty quests. We don't need to talk to you. We are just running. And boom, make sure you talk to Clarissa like I did to get the key. So, there will be 3 busts down here. There will be 1 before the waypoint and 2 after, and you need to pick up all of them. These will give you a skill point, and obviously we are very hungry for skill points. We do want those. We'll check this double axe, see if it's an upgrade, but we don't really care that much anyway. We are 1 level away from swapping. Well, it might take us 2 levels because we haven't got explosive R yet, and we need to kill Gorishis for that, I believe. I remember if we need to do the library side quest on this build, but we'll figure that out together. Oh, that's really nice. Doesn't have Flood Fizz though. I don't actually know if it's an upgrade. Oh, we'll grab that shrine and kill a bunch of monsters. Well, we can check on the tooltip. 293. 325. Yeah, just because the attack speed, it's quite a buff. And that's even including the fact that Herald of Ash got turned off. So, really, really nice. It'll feel a lot better with higher attack speed too. Staff is very, very slow. There's an additional hideout. You can do that if you want an additional skin for your hideout. It doesn't give you any benefit, it's just like a different look. There's loads of different hideouts that you could either buy for money or unlock by killing bosses, etc. And finding in maps as rare drops. There, we got a better mana potion. That'll be huge. Wait, I don't need to have precision on. 1060 accuracy. I have 700 life. Giant life flask, it's blue. So what we're hoping for here is either bubbling or seething, which is half instant or instant. So that would change that my life flask no longer like recovers life over time. No. It just became better. But better's good too. This is Spectral Throw, correct? And obviously, while watching this, don't be worried if you feel like you're trailing behind a lot and stuff like that. Just like pause my video and play alongside it. Like it doesn't really matter about the pace. I'm just obviously trying to keep the information flow high and the video as short as I possibly can. Here is another. There. This is another trial area. We need all those. Yeah, I do care quite a lot about picking up most wisdoms and stuff I find. I want to make sure that I have enough to identify every rare, etc. early. Bone bow.
Traveling light.
So the reason I don't care about going back for that is that there's nothing that can roll that would be good. We are very beholden to using short, grove, and thicket bows because of the base attack speed of the weapon. The only other option would be, I don't remember the early game bases, but the bases that are called Imperial Bow at the end game, they are usable, but only if they're really, really good. Attack speed's very important for our build later. We will grab the essence. They're just good to have, just to throw on rings and stuff. Even if it is a muttering condemn, which would have been really nice if we were continuing playing melee. We could get a small upgrade right now, that would be a big boost for us. But since we're about to swap, it doesn't like make sense for me to spend like 5 minutes getting an upgrade when I am 7 minutes maybe away from swapping to our in-game build. We don't care about that right now. Again, you'll see I'm like focusing really hard on just running through the traps here. This, as I said, they don't have a big enough surface area to kill you unless you panic. There, back to character selection. And we'll sell everything. Keep that, and we hand in that for the skill point. We will look for a 4-link now. So that's the early one, Royal Bow. Like, these are useful. If it was a 4-link, I would maybe consider using it. Any nice 4-link? I see a glove. No. And buy the rusted hatchet for 1 wisdom. Just to get another chrome. We might have to recolor some stuff. We're not going to recolor the gloves because they are evasion and energy shield. So they're most likely going to hit blue stuff. We're gonna grab Grace. We'll need that later. Talakura. There, we'll grab a Farsight there, and then we'll start moving on the second bow gem cluster. That'll be really good because as soon as we get explosive arrow, we'll have a bunch of damage. There's a quest here that we're going to ignore. I can't even remember what it gives, but we do not care for it. Man, that must be hard for people that are like, they want to complete everything. They're going to be like, but I want to. Feel free to do it, but it's a bit of a pain. I never do it. Ever. I don't remember what last year I did it. Giant mana flask. We already have that, and we don't really care about the mana flask being blue. Oh, so here you see the ghost has touched the monster, so there was a ghost a little bit off screen there. And that buffs them. They'll also give more rewards, so they can like drop a decent amount of stuff for me. It didn't. You see, I'm like using my movement ability a lot to try to go faster. We'll grab the ribbon spool here, we need that. Request. Obviously, the game does tell you to some degree like what quests you're supposed to be doing and stuff. You just don't really need to. I'm your quest giver now. The unique. Might as well grab that while we're moving through. You'll see that I try to position so that I'm killing like a bunch of things at the same time. pick that up just for some alterations and stuff. There's 2 rares here on me. Don't have room for that. You could bank a lot more than I do as well. Obviously, I'm trying to save time and I do care about things like that. It's the shorter I can make this video, the better. 5 or above alteration. That's a pretty rare drop this early. That is more than we need. More than we need. Every one of these like little dock areas here has like a small blue pack. So this is like, for people that are under leveled at this point, a lot of people like leveling here. This is a divination card. Do I explain divination cards? Divination card is like an item shard. When you hover over it, it'll say what it does. So this, once you get 7 of these, you can hand them into a vendor and it'll give you 20 orbs of fusings. They drop in like random zones. Every single divination card is actually not made by the game developers. They're made by supporters. You can't buy that anymore, but it was like an old thing. It was a way you could support the game and then you got to design one. There. Boots, we'll pick up the life. Right, this quiver could be great. It is not. It's usable. The usable starter quiver. Right, we need the quest reward here, so I need to make sure I have room for that in my inventory. I'll just throw that out real quick. Just throw out a random mirror to make space. And we're just killing everything. We can portal back to town or log out.
How you doing?
Doing great. Keep that. We can keep that faster. It is better than my white one, and it doesn't have any downsides. Sometimes you can have downsides. We can bank. See, we can keep faster attacks. We'll bank everything. So the stash types you start out with will be more than enough. They'll be more than enough. There, just bank most of it.
How you doing?
Like, you don't need to buy stash tabs to play PoE. Like, you do, but not to see if you like the game.
Bring me back something nice, huh?
There. And then we're grabbing, is it right side or left side? We're going left side. Yeah, right side's phasing. There, and then now we're gonna go back to the battlefront. And there is usually a stash tab sale very, very early. Usually either the first or second week of the league. So if you're a new player, I would wait with buying that until the sale goes on. You'll save like 20-30%. What has Scissorin designed? The Undisputed Sea of Blue, and then I gave one of my divination design tokens to the guy who lost his brother to remake Brothers Gift. I had a spare one.
Dream of home. It's a little tight around.
There, 1 skill point. Need that. So we'll have both Avatar of the Hunt.
The old empire yet.
You see that you are a little bit over leveled. This is pretty normal. You'll probably be, I don't know. I don't know what new players are at this point. Maybe 32 to 34. There. Where did his brother go? He died. That's why it's a tribute card. Alright. When does he transform into Explosive Iron Man? Technically 2 levels ago. We just need the gem. We'll grab that. We just need to get to the point where we can swap. Normally I am like 27, 28 when I get to the gem, but obviously we're going slower while explaining everything. We're gonna go left here. generally always to the left in Solaris Temple level 2. Again, we click all the boxes to get a bunch of different XP, etc. You might have noticed that there are different boxes. There's some really good ones at the end game. They'll be kind of rare and kind of rewarding, like Diviner and Cartographer box. Another Chancellor. This is great. There, and now we're gonna pick up Int. I think I get low on Int on this build. I can't remember.
You may go.
There, and we'll grab that. Good upgrades there. No, we don't want that. I'll explain why later, but that's fire damage to attacks, which we don't want. Boom! We're gonna go to the sewer. Gonna burn the bottle. Grab a crafting recipe there. We missed 1 or 2 crafting recipes too. We can grab that later. If we need it, which we don't. And now we're gonna kill Gravatius. Might take a little bit. He's kind of tanky. There's another div card. You see that it's displayed differently. That's because it's a bad one. Somebody wasted like $800 on that. I think it was 800 or something to get a div card.
Give up the fight, duelist. Your soul was lost long ago.
Alright, now we just gotta kill him. Now, you'll notice he has energy shield, which means if I stop attacking him for a little bit, he will start regenerating. A lot of bosses have this. It's very annoying. You really want to like keep up the pressure. So he has a lot of abilities. I'm like trying to dodge. He has like the throw that's really scary, and then he has the firestorm coming from the sky. But after this, our damage is gonna go up an insane amount. Ow. Die.
I fought for God.
Good.
Who do you
Right.
fight for, Exile?
We'll go grab the next waypoint and then we will swap.
Dying in battle. The only honorable thing you've ever done, Gravisius.
Shade. Yeah, I should have used the Darnan, I forgot. Nice. You see there's so many monsters around the shrine. Very nice. This is a good practice for me too, because this is the build I'm playing. Do another practice run tomorrow, but actual practice and not explain everything. So we're just running past. You see I'm like kind of starting to ignore a lot more too. We are like quite over leveled and we don't really need to kill everything. We're definitely gonna ignore the big boy to our left here and hug the wall here to avoid him. Big dude called Cole. He slaps. A lot of people's first hardcore death has been to that guy. He really slaps. He's mean. Contained items have 2 additional sockets. So this could actually bypass the item level requirement. So, man, trying to remember the actual item level requirements. I think it's like item level 25 for 4 sockets. Item level 50. No, 35 for 5 sockets. And item level 50 for 6 sockets. So item level depends on what zone it's dropped in. Like the monster level. And if I hold Alt here, you can see that it's like item level 31. So once something is item level 50, it can have 6 sockets. The crafting bench can bypass this.
Piety's home away from home. Let's see if the sick witch is in.
Alright, this is a zone where you really want to move a lot. The so-called titty bitches, they have their boobs out and they shoot machine guns out of them. I don't know if they're Katy Perry inspired or what, but they do a lot of damage. I guess it's actually out of the tentacles. They're a little scary. Orb of Regret, what that does is it gives you a respec point, and in the endgame it can give you a respec point for the endgame basically. Ooh, scary lightning. Path of Exile sadly has very, very bad respec options. So that's why a lot of players will come to me and be like, hey, I was trying my own thing. The build's not really good. Can you fix my build? And I'm like, no, make a new one. Like, there's no fixing a build early on in PoE. Like, endgame respec is surprisingly really, really good. Like, once you're an experienced player and you want to respec and stuff at the endgame, that part's fine. Oh, whoops, I went past the next zone. Doing a victory lap. Oh wait, what am I doing? I should go to town and switch. I was just gonna grab the waypoint and then switch. Right, we'll grab... Let's see, is there anything here? Do I grab explosive arrow for free? No.
Goodbye.
I do have to use one of my precious chance orbs.
Hello.
There, explosive arrow, and now we need to look at the POB and we're gonna see the swap. So we need ballista totem, lesser multiple projectiles, elemental damage with attacks, frenzy, flame dash. We do need to do library for, so we will need to do library. We're gonna go get a bunch of gems right now that we need. So we need to go back to Act 1 and Act 2 and buy a bunch. So frenzy here. We're gonna get elemental damage with a
My
Huh?
help is yours.
no. Where's that? Elemental damage with attacks, and it's control click to buy outright. Termination, Lista, LMP. You can buy Infernal Cry.
Go with
I'm not going to do that. I don't feel like I have damage issues. You can use Infernal Cry to get more damage. It does something called Cover in Ash. I think it's like 10-15% more fire damage. It's great. Let's see, I'm just gonna destroy this. It is great, but I just don't have damage issues, so I don't bother. We're gonna buy Ballista Totem. We're gonna buy Blink Arrow. And I think that's everything. We're now gonna pick up the bow. We care about green, 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 or red, red, green. It doesn't really matter. I'm gonna throw a transmute on the bow. I'm gonna check POEDB bows. Just want to make sure how early can you hit attack speed. See, so POEDB bows modifier calculator. Just a thing I slept into Google. Just POEDB and then bows. So as early as 5. I'm gonna see if I can get item level 11 short bow. Don't know if the vendor goes up to item level 11. Goes up to 14. I'm gonna buy this for whetstone.
Stay sharp.
I'm also gonna check later on, so Act 3, and see if there's a short or grow bow here. I think I have all the gems I need now. Just
You're looking sharp.
this is, we're looking for higher item level. We're also looking for 4 links. We don't see any.
Do anything I
We
would.
don't have any other good stuff we need there. Right. What I'm going to do to get a really, really good bow, I'm going to throw a few alterations and hope for attack speed. There's not that many things I can roll. We're going to use my augments too. So when I hit a prefix, I get another try. It would also stop at fire damage over time multiplier if I get that. Now, this is why you want to have a lot of alterations. This isn't super necessary, but will feel really good. I don't want to use all of them though. We're just going to use a few. Being a little unlucky here. Okay, we'll just keep this. That's fine. Then I might as well just use this because it actually has red, red, green. A little bit unlucky. A bit of a waste, really. There, we got some projectile speed. Obviously, all this.
You're looking sharp. Don't do anything I would.
So we're gonna do Ballista Totem, elemental damage with attacks, and we kind of want 2 greens. We can do that here. We don't need Spectral Throw anymore, so we'll remove that. We can just delete the gems. Don't need Chance to Bleed. Don't need Volley. So we'll do Explosive Arrow, Oh, I forgot to buy lesser multiple projectiles. See, and then got lesser multiple, put that in there, and then we have the ballista. So now, putting always attack without moving on that. Let's see, what else we need? We don't need Leech Slam anymore, so we find that and we destroy it. We also don't need Herald of Ash, so we find that and we destroy it. We don't need Ancestral Protector and Maim, so we can destroy all these, or you can just vendor them for Wisdom Scraps. I think we've dropped War Banner too. Do keep Precision. We got rid of a lot of gems now. So, Frenzy. Faster attacks. Put Blink Arrow there. Then we can level all their gems that we need. That's not very important right now. Oh, I think that's everything. We do need to do a side area called the library. Okay, right. Let's go and kill Piety. So we'll have faster attacks that we can switch with lesser multiple attacks. We'll have those there, and then I can just switch those easily. I'll put Blink Arrow on my space bar, and then later I'm going to put Flame Dash on my mouse button 5. That's what I really like. So I don't have a like nice Flame Dash ability yet. That'll feel really good later, having both of them. Now you'll see this is just, it feels amazing. Because now you can just run past things and they will really like wrap up. They attack further off screen than the Ancestral Protector. And it just feels like a joy. Here's another neat trick to know what way you're going. It's 2 barrels wrong way, 1 barrel or 1 wagon correct way. And we don't have flammability yet, and we don't have a thing called elemental equilibrium yet. So we're going to be getting that soon and explaining how those works. As you can see, they're like really taking care of all the enemies now. This will mean some backtracking. This is why a filter is important, because a filter, you might have noticed, also has sounds on things like that are important, like currency. If you hear something, just run back for it. And right now we have 3 ballistas. At the end game, we can have up to 6.
I can't do this just yet.
And currently we are what's called an attack-based build. So that means right now we're actually relying on our initial explosion. So explosive arrow like sticks in our target, and then after 1.2 seconds explodes. And later on we're going to change a little bit where we're actually relying on the ignite. So this is like burning damage over time. Whereas right now it's all about the explosion.
So you've chosen to end our affair,
I will take the top mastery. Show that in a sec. I really like that. Not everybody's a big fan of that. I just really love using Blink Arrow. Also going to put in faster attacks instead of lesser multiple. We do that for bosses early until we feel like we have enough damage that we don't care. Because right now we don't have, for example, flammability. And we can attack with Frenzy. That will give us a lot more damage and attack speed. I usually have that on W. And we still don't need Precision on right now. Crafting bench recipe, and she's dead. It's a pretty straightforward fight with this build. Every boss fight really is. You should have had flammability by this point. No, I don't think Duelist gets it. You need the library. Pretty sure. Yeah, need library. There. We'll render all of these.
Bye.
Dr. Grigor for skill point.
Goodbye, Exile.
We can put LMP back in instead of faster attacks. If you had a green socket somewhere else, you could be leveling that too. I sometimes do library before piety too. There's nothing wrong with that. You can just go up here first and do library first. You'll have slightly more damage. So yeah, I'm a big fan of the cooldown recovery mastery. This one, Blink Arrow and Mirror Arrow is 100% increased range. And then because we are using a feathered arrow quiver, actually I'm gonna go see if I can buy another one, because we do have that woe essence. Will give us another nice little damage boost. Any quiver. There's a Grove Bow. I'm going to buy that. to see if I can get decent attack speed on it. So,
Good luck.
just to see if I can give myself a nice boost early. It would be very nice to get attack speed. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to use the Essence of Contempt. And this is really nice. The problem is that I hit fire damage. This would have been everything I wanted. This would have taken me all the way to maps. But sadly, it did hit fire damage. And because I am just about to take Elemental Equilibrium, I need to make sure that there's no fire damage on my bow. So hopefully you don't have the same experience. But if I look here now, we can see here that I have main hand physical damage, main hand lightning damage, no main hand fire damage, right? Whereas if I put on that bow, I would have main hand fire damage. And the way this works is hits that deal elemental damage, remove exposure to those elements, and inflict exposure to other elements. And the way this works with explosive arrow is there's the two parts to the ability. You have the initial hit, which is the same as like basically a default attack, right? This is where our arrow is sticking in the target, and that, because of my quiver, is dealing lightning damage. And that then makes the fire and cold resist go down. You can have cold, you can have lightning, you can have both, and that's fine, doesn't matter. But if you have fire damage, we're missing out on that minus 25 resist. So, a little bit frustrating about the bow. This is obviously very, very nice other than that. So you could have cold, you could have lightning, you could have both. And then the explosion will go off, which will then again make it more fire resistant. But since we're constantly hitting it with new arrows, it'll always be hit by a default arrow with lightning or cold damage before the explosion goes off.
You're looking sharp.
So we're just gonna sell this,
Stay out of
and
the
we will be looking out for grove, short, and thicket bows, and hoping that we get something nice there. And this, right now, already, is the playstyle of the build. There's a very scary box there called Detonate Dead. Gotta be careful for that. But this is the playstyle of the build. I'm basically running around, so it'll just get stronger and stronger from here. But if you already now are thinking, like, this is a really cool playstyle, then this is definitely the build for you. I think something dropped back there? No. I'm just hearing things. I'm getting old. We can identify the belt. So what I'm looking for here would be like life and resist and fast charges gain, but it only has fast charges gain, so I'm not going to bother keeping that. No prolif, alk XD, so you never use prolif early because you don't have a decent chance to ignite. You never do prolif early on this build, ever. And while like moving through like this, you could keep your frenzy up too. The way frenzy charges work is they give 4% more damage, so 12%. Really, really good. And they also give us attacking cast speed, which is huge for this build. The way the build works is that the more arrows are in the target when it explodes, the more large the explosion will be. It's very, very nice. That's why we want so high attack speed, and we're very like attack speed focused. So we're gonna go do library now, and the reason we're doing that is it'll unlock every skill gem that other classes have had by now. I think it's like very, very convoluted for new players, and I think they should just have every skill gem is unlocked by default. But here we are. This is more overwhelming, but dead end. Oh no. Can you use a Stormcloud bow? Both Stormcloud and Quillrain are really, really good. Quillrain is better, especially early, because we're completely hit-based. We're not using Ignite, like the damage over time portion early on. And that mastery here, which is increases and reductions to projectile speed, also increase your damage, is really, really good with the Quillrain bow. So, and we will be using that because Feathered Arrow Quiver and getting, also getting like projectile speed on a bow will be really nice. And we already have, I do have a bow in my stash with projectile speed I could use. Now we gotta find like a little lever. And now, just from that explosive arrow going out, my damage increased by 15%. It's that large. So, very, very huge. Like, I could literally like over level and just like stay, like, let's say I really wanted to be safe, right? Maybe it's like I'm a new player and I'm trying hardcore for the first time because I like to cool games. you could level to like 35, 37 and get such a big boost from those levels. Whereas if I'm attack based, it's entirely based on the scaling off the weapon. And then later we're gonna have something called Prolift, which will spread our ignite damage out very, very strong. And it'll like clear very nicely. If you're a player that really likes full clearing maps, this build does so sort of accidentally. You don't actually have to like run around that much, because the damage like lingers and burns everything. So it feels really nice. There. So now we're just running around picking up all of those. I'm always so scared of like missing explaining something, but I'm also trying not to over explain things. It's a really hard balance to strike. Really hard balance to strike. I feel like I'm just constantly talking. It's great. This way to some gem is a build only level up to a certain level. So we'll be getting to that in Act 4, but that's like trigger gems, like cast when I'm mistaken. Sometimes you want to balance how often it procs and how strong it is, and then you very often will keep them at a low level to make sure that it procs more often, like a conditional gem. Champion, I think Champion has like a fifth or something, a fifth or fourth of the damage of Elementalist. Elementalist hits dot cap pretty easily. It's very hard to hit dot cap on Champion, and dot cap is 34 million damage. Right. There. Now we're gonna go back. And we are going to grab, I don't think we care about any gem here. Grab hypothermia. It's something we could use at some point. Let's see. What do we need? We need flame dash. Oh, I need to actually have things on me. This doesn't use your stash. I need flame dash. Termination if we don't have that already. See, there. Wait, do I need a chance orb? I'll bring them just in case.
Need some help.
I don't. Here, we'll sell everything. Determination. We'll at least be leveling that, even if we don't use it.
See you.
And we're gonna go buy flammability and flame dash.
May reason.
Dash. Ability. Now the int ones, you do have to be a little bit careful about how much you level. I'm gonna put determination here and then use some crumbs on the helmet, hoping for blue socket. We don't really have any gear that's prone to get blue socket, so kind of annoying. We might have to use some crumbs here. We just need one really for the flame dash. They want one for the flammability too. We can put precision back over here now, and the boots are pretty nice. So come on. Oh, it hit greens. Please, please. Hey, we got it. A little bit annoying, but this is why you want to pick up a bunch of those. Cool. I've put flammability on my T. I am putting flame dash on my mouse button 5, which is on my second bar. And you'll notice I have everything with attack in place. Very, very nice. I don't think there's anything else we need right now. You could also use skitterbots for softcore instead of determination. It'll shock and chill your enemies, making them take more damage. We can just have determination on. We don't currently need precision because we don't have enough life. Now, you'll be noticing that I'm using my flame dash after my blink arrow. Feels really, really good. So like blink arrow, flame dash, blink arrow, flame dash. And that thing I explained at the start, where movement skills are instant when you haven't used them for a while, these don't share that same cooldown, so you'll notice both of them are sort of instant.
Precisely.
It's very nice. So it's the same as with Leap Slam, where if I do back-to-back Flame Dash, you'll see the second one has that like weird animation. It's kind of slow, but as long as I'm like using it now and again, very, very nice. For rare unique bosses, I will now be throwing flammability on them. It is a huge damage increase. absolutely huge damage increase. So anywhere I'm struggling on damage, I'll be throwing that on now. We're gonna go to the right here, and we're gonna go to the next area. Alright, and now we're entering the Scepter of God. We're gonna skill points here, and then I can take the increases and reductions, apply to projectile speed. I quite like that. You only benefit from that if you have a feathered arrow quiver, or if you have projectile speed on your quiver or bow. And then that's the same as getting 1% increased damage per 1% projectile speed. So really, really nice. Very, very nice. Something dropped there. Transmute. We will pick that up. So you'll see that I'll try to play a little bit faster now. To try to like catch up some time and not make it like a 10-hour video. Probably will be quite long though, since I want to do maps. I will go under level 2 maps. On hardcore, normally you will stay in like Blood Aqueduct or Harbor Bridge, etc., which is some not in-game areas, but like end of the campaign areas. And you'll stay there until as much as 70 or 72. Just make sure that you're really, really strong entering mapping, and you like prepare more gear. Whereas on softcore, you can go into maps at like level 63 to 65 and not have too many issues. You'll see I'm like cursing monsters and stuff now. Frenzy too if I want more damage. So our damage will just keep scaling, and we'll get more and more damage. It'll add up very, very quickly. And I'm still just on a 3-link. It is very possible that a lot of you watching have a 4-link by now, and that you have elemental damage with attacks as a support, which obviously I don't have access to yet. See, and we're checking. I can't remember what bear is. It's not amulet, is it? I do bother killing red beast while leveling because there are several uniques that can be really, really nice.
This one is captured.
Good job, Einar. Right. Oh, it's a create a unique helmet. That is really good, and I would normally absolutely talk to Einar so that I could get a unique helmet. It could give me a gold rim. I don't think it can give me a Wilmus Requital, which is a nice item for this build. Can be at least, but either way, we're not gonna bother too much with uniques because they're so random. Yeah, Thrill Steel for the Onslaught would be huge. But yeah. Now we get to meet the Scion. This is the 7th character of Path of Exile. She's now free. Man, it's so weird. I haven't done this in ages. Freedom! Let's see. Now, where are we putting points in next? I'm going to change the tree to the one that says Cruel Lab. And then we're going to start moving northwest on the skill tree. We're going to go through a bunch of life nodes. There's no other utility fuss there that we don't need. Explosive Fire is about to level up right before Dominus. It should level up from the pre-monsters. God is watching. Oh, so now for the boss fight, I want to keep my frenzy charges up, and I want to keep my enemies cursed with flammability. It does last 8 seconds, so as long as I curse them every 8 seconds, I'm alright. I can now switch faster attacks with lesser multiple projectiles just to get a little bit extra damage here. Depending on like if you have a 4-link and stuff like that, you might not need to do that. About to have explosive arrow level next kill. Maybe next kill. Surely.
Have you ever seen the
Okay,
true
it didn't
face
level.
of God,
Very
Exile?
unlucky.
Die in awe, the light of divinity!
Don't stand in that. It hurts a lot. As you can see, sometimes he'll even attack our totems, leaving us free to just chill. It's a very, very nice build for that. And when he does attack us, we can just focus on dodging.
Die.
So this build has something called really high damage uptime. And sometimes it'll be like, for example, another league starter that I recommend a lot is Toxic Rain. But Toxic Rain only does damage while you're actively attacking yourself. So with Toxic Rain, you're literally standing there shooting, and you'll notice as soon as you stop doing that, your damage drops off a cliff. So that's a really, really nice thing about EA. And I would say EA, the build we're playing right now, honestly, it feels like a build that's like 30-40% more damage. And that's because the high damage uptime. Because yeah, it's great if you have, let's say at the end game, 10 million damage per second. But if that's only while you're doing certain things, or maybe only while you have fast up, it'll feel a lot worse than a build that constantly has like 7, right? And you see the boss is now like dying really, really fast. We don't have anything crazy. And you're getting very smooth boss fights. Ah, this is a great teaching moment. I'm so happy that dropped. Look at this. And oh my god, let's imagine this had like 40% damage and projectile speed, and it's great. I'm going to put this on now, and you can see firsthand one of the easiest mistakes you can make as a new player.
What could be more relaxing?
Why am I not doing any damage? So you'll now see that the arrows are penetrating the monsters, and unless they hit a wall, they're not going to explode and hit. So the biggest mistake you could get would be to get pierce. The second biggest mistake you could do would be to get one additional projectile fired. The reason for that is because once explosive arrow fires 2 arrows, it'll fire in a V around the monster. Nothing will directly hit it. So pierce or 1 additional arrow is the number top 2 mistakes you can make. You always want to fire an odd number of arrows on this build. 1, 3, or 5. What if you're using fork? Then you're making whole new mistakes that I haven't even thought of that someone could make. But like, this is like the easiest build. Oh, huge. That's a huge 4-link for me. So now we get a huge damage upgrade. We get to use elemental damage with attacks. It's absolutely massive. We're going to instantly switch over to that. Oh dear. There, and we put determination and frenzy here. And then we're going to move the elemental damage with attacks. So now I just gained a 23% more multiplier to my damage. So absolutely huge. Have fun. Join those of you that also have 4 links. Don't need to kill this boss, but kind of like it. Look, like our damage went up a lot now. Once I get to town here, I'm going to take a quick toilet break. Obviously, if you're watching on YouTube, just skip past the break. There won't be anything interesting happening. And if you're watching on Twitch, I will play ads during that. Great way to support the stream. How can I skip? Well, you're watching on Twitch, so you're shit out of luck. You just gotta wait. I'll be right back. Hope you guys are enjoying watching this. I'm just gonna vendor real quick. And then, how am I on alterations and transmutes? I'll ID a few items. I can ID the boots actually as well. Looking for like really high movement speed, life. Honestly, that's kind of nice. This is like, so right now I'd be looking for like multiple resistances in life. Those boots are really good. They don't have a blue, and I'm kind of low on blue.
May fear guide
Ah, that's annoying. I mean, I could maybe. Oh, I don't have any more blues left. Right now I'm just looking real quick to see if any chrome items. No, I can't see any. Anyway, I'm gonna be right back. Oh my. Right. We'll keep the boots in case I find some crumbs, but... Alright. Oh yeah. Wrong way. Been too long. Been too long. Too much Tarkov and RuneScape. Thanks, Tugi.
No, this is...
Alright. Oh, something dropped. See, like, eventually you'll only backtrack when you, hear sounds. Necessarily just like transmutes and stuff. I do bother killing hosts, they do sometimes have nice things. And you'll see I'll get like into a nice habit now of using Blink Arrow followed by Flame Dash. So I'll get like a really long movement ability. And it's pretty speedy. I'm a big fan of the Blink Arrow, especially with how fast the recovery is with that mastery we took. I don't think that's actually in the guide. Most people don't like Blink Arrow, but I'm a big fan. I love it. I love it. There. And right now, because we have determination, we have a bunch of armor. Now, armor will say we have 75% physical damage reduction. That's not entirely true. And you don't really need to understand the intricacies of how it works.
It seems to
me, basically armor is really good against small monsters and not good against like big slams. This would be an insane thing to happen in League Start, getting that ring. It doesn't actually work for explosive arrow, sadly. But either way, we're avoiding using rare unique items.
I see ya.
But yeah, surprisingly it doesn't work with explosive arrow anyway, so it's not important. Right, we're gonna keep moving up here. Can't think of a better totem build other than EA. Yeah, I mean, there's a few good ones, but EA, especially on Champion, it's so nice for new players because you do get that tank, you're not glass cannon, and it's like a very simple tank that's like built into the build. It's not much you have to like understand to make it work. That's very, very nice. Now, so in Path of Exile, we have Ascendancy classes, which is like subclasses, and you would already now be thinking about ascending. A lot of people would have done so already. However, right now, all we would get from it is some loot, so you could do it now, or you could leave it until the second lab. The reason for that is our first Ascendancy just doesn't do anything. It needs the second Ascendancy to function. So right now we started picking up something called Soul Fight. That is for an endgame mechanic called Delve. And it's basically an infinite dungeon. The only connection it has to maps is that you need fuel. So you need to find the Soul Fight in the endgame mechanic called maps. And then that like fuels your cart and you can like keep exploring this like infinite dungeon.
I'm really not sure I like the sound of that.
Yeah, not everybody likes Delve Duelist, but it's worth explaining. And there's like a decent amount of rewards there. And some like unique items that only exist there, etc. I might do this with Elementless. Yeah, Palstron has a Elementless guide that's still pretty solid.
My spirit is
Many new PoE players here. I'm not sure. I think most people watch this on YouTube so you can pause. So I don't know how many people are like new players watching this. Like this is a better series to pause. I think I've explained everything so far. It's like it's a hard series to do as an experienced player because you always like don't remember what you don't know. Oh, loads of new players. Oh dear. So this is one of the things that'll kill you the most. The Hasted with Haste Aura, they're so fast and they're just very scary. Sometimes you can just disengage and run away from it. A rare Grove Bow, this could be a huge upgrade for us. If I get attack speed and no fire damage here, that would be absolutely ginormous. Oh, this is huge. Huge. So this is now our bow all the way until like late game, basically. This is very big. So the reason this is big, you'll see the attacks per second is 1.5 on our short bow right now, but 1.67 on this. So that'll give a lot more explosions, making the explosion bigger. Really, really huge. Yeah, Path of Exile is a difficult game because even when you have 1,000 hours and stuff, a lot of people consider themselves a new player. Which obviously, I generally do love complicated games. Like the other games I play is RuneScape and Escape from Tarkov. But like Tarkov, you feel like you're pretty good at the game after 1,000 hours, and RuneScape sort of like choose your own pace anyway. PoE is just very, very complicated and difficult. So here I would normally ascend. Honestly, it's not bad to ascend here anyway, just to get some levels and some loot. We're already so over leveled. I'm like normally like 33 or something here, so you'll see, like, if I have time, I will like bother cursing packs and stuff. See, here I will like keep a totem here and there. Right now, you'll notice we don't have any like proliferation or anything. It's all about the direct hit damage, because it's pretty hard to get a good chance to ignite. That beast is sadly now a talisman, so we are going to skip that. We don't really care about that. Oh, I think it's down here. Not bad to kill still, but not a big fan. Really want a talisman. It's like a special corrupted amulet. Not really worth explaining. It does not come with an anoint, which we also haven't gotten to yet. We'll get to that later. There's a lot to explain in this game. Here is a little like sub-boss. Cyclone, give me a little mean. It does die very fast though. And once he dies, he spawns the second wave of monsters. Probably should have helped him a little earlier. Right, we're now found a sacred life flask. I am now going to care a little bit about trying to like transmute some life flask. Once I get a 42 life flask, which is hallowed, I will care about getting a bubbling or seething. Especially nice for hardcore. And that's because you're very rarely in PoE like, oh no, I'm dying. Hold on, let me press my life flask that does overtime recovery. Path of Exile, you're very likely to just be like bursted down like very fast. A lot more likely than like dying to overtime stuff. And the overtime that kills you is very, very fast too. So it's always like panic deaths. Any tips on navigating the Grand Arena? Stay to the left. Another sacred life flask. No. Now this chill immunity, that's pretty huge, so that means I can feel safer about opening boxes. And if I get frozen, I can press that reactively, and that'll save me. So that was a superior gem. That is similar to quality on armor and weapons, but it'll like increase the damage of the support gem. And you can like save these up, and this works on all quality. But let's say I had a bunch of these void manipulations, right? With like just low quality, like 3, 5, 6%. If they total 40 quality, I get 1 gem cutter person back. And that's the same as like armor scrap and whetstone. The difference between those three, like armor scrap, blacksmith, whetstone, and a gem cutter person, is a gem cutter person will always only give 1 quality when used on a gem, whereas a blacksmith, whetstone, and armor scrap, if used on a white piece of gear, it'll give 5% quality. Blue gear will give 2% quality, and rare or unique will give 1%. There. He gave me a little bit of rippy. He does cold damage, so it helps a lot that we're cold resist cap. And again, keep making sure that you're using your crafting bench to fix your resistances and stuff like that. And in Act 5, we are gonna lose resists. So keep that in mind, that you do actually, like, you need 105 resist once you're about to kill the first Kitava. And, you know, it's never a random amount. You're never like, oh, I lost 37% now, and like, oh, 28 on my next character. It's always 30. 105 resist, you are fine. There. Vendor, all of this. Yeah, we don't care about that flask. I'd rather have a bigger amount of flask. Here.
Go where you are needed.
Then we're gonna talk to Tasuni and pick up a skill point from her. That was from the Desherate Ghost.
You have hunt well.
And now, oops. Now we're gonna go back to Crystal Veins. We're gonna go to Comb. They're like trapped in their own dreams. Is Tasuni a girl?
I once heard a card
I have no idea.
their island of the
The
dead.
dude? I don't know, dude. I like don't care about the storyline stuff. I just kill things.
I can't do this just yet.
How do new players price the stuff they want or sell how they know something's expensive to buy? They don't. New players will just get absolutely shafted and scammed by experienced players. It'll just take a very, very long time. Watching streamers that are trading and selling will give you like a rough idea of what's good or not. But trading and stuff like that will be one of the last things you learn, and you will absolutely get scammed. That's why, like I said, don't feel too bad about it, because at the end of the day, you are getting a full reset every 3 months. That's why I really like pushing temporary leagues. Nearly everybody plays that anyway. And then it's sort of like it's all about what you're learning as a person, right? It doesn't matter that you got scammed. It doesn't matter that you got fucked over. Also, doesn't matter if your account gets hacked in that way, right? If you like are poor with security or something, you don't really lose too much. So that's nice, at least. You'll see now that the Flame Notch cannot level anymore. So what we can do now is we can right click it and forget about it and just assume that we're not going to get more intelligence. We could also just take intelligence right here. We're most likely fine on strength, so I can now take Wisdom of the Glade instead of beef. But we don't really need to. It doesn't get a huge benefit from leveling, and a lot of people will keep their Flame Notch pretty low level. It's just like some recovery rates, you'll get more charges faster. But it's good to know that you can do it. And once you've right-clicked a gem, it'll appear here like you saw. If you do want to change your mind on it later. And like I said, there's no like automatic leveling. Only you can choose not to level it. We're just running through to Comb. King Comb. That node is actually called Beef. Beef! It is Lily's favorite node on the tree. Iron scale boots on a 4-link. That's quite nice. And then once we kill Comb here, we get access to a new type of gems. It's like reactive trigger gems. They have level 38 as a requirement, which is fine. We are more than that. We can do things like cast when damage taken, kind of self-explanatory, and curse on hit. I guess they're all kind of self-explanatory. Here we got a 5 socket, so we know that this is at least item level 35, not item level 50. Things can be 6-socketed. You'll always notice I'm cursing and keeping my frenzy up on bosses, and then just like throwing down some new totems. With frenzy, like the entire stack renews. You don't need to attack like 3 times. You just need to attack once every 10 seconds to keep your frenzy up. And you'll see, like, I've actually, like, stopped bothering with, like, switching out to faster attacks on some bosses. So damage is pretty good now. And we'll just continue to get better. Obviously, getting that 4-link helped a lot.
That you got a warrior's death, Calm.
There. And we're going to keep moving to the left. Turn left. I always check boots just in case we get some crazy ones. They're pretty crazy, actually. I really want that one, say at level 40. That's an open suffix for resist, and has really good movement speed. We're going to ditch that 4-link. We don't really care about it. I don't need extra 4-links right now. We are going to activate the quest, which we need before we get the support gem. And then we are now going to go get Curse on Hit. I don't know if we can...
Yes?
We could do Mana Forged Arrow actually for Frenzy. Ah, it's not worth it. Anyway, we'll do Hex Touch. I do need a blue gem for. I could try to get that on my bow. We could use one jeweler. One more. Okay, a little unlucky. I kind of wanted that. We could also at this point get Castle Nose taken. We don't really care. It's kind of whatever. But it would be nice to have. Oh well. Yeah, sad Pepe. A little unlucky with my socket pressure. I also don't have any like blue hybrid gear. Like, it wouldn't be bad to get an evasion energy shield one. There, we're just gonna keep moving through.
The beast itself.
Like there with like 2 rares and stuff, I do like bother cursing them. Now this zone is very, very dangerous. Don't be worried if you're dying here. That's because bleeds are pretty crazy. Generally, I'll be blinking right as they're about to hit me with a bleed, but it's a lot harder when you're a new player, so you're probably just getting hit quite a lot. You're bleeding a lot in this zone. You could also play very like protectively with your totem, so like putting things down and then falling back. And we don't currently have any bleed removal on our potions, but that is a stat potions can roll. Ooh. And we're in zone level 2. Why don't you put gems in some items? More inventory space and every buff helps. Because I don't have anything else that buffs or does anything. Right now I don't have a blue socket for my Hex Touch and my wind manipulation. I'm just going to be selling later for gem cutter prisms. And hypothermia I don't need. I just throw out. And faster attacks is just something I use for swapping. Actually I can keep that. Oh, there. Yeah, that's just something I use for swapping with lesser multiple projectiles for difficult bosses. I will be doing that for the boss we're about to find. True, bleed does do more damage when you move, so if I get hit now, hit me. And you see that if I'm running, it does a lot more damage than if I'm standing still. And I can use movement abilities, and they will not bleed as much.
I can't do this just yet.
Fusing, nice. And you'll always see that I'm trying to run at a bit of an angle for monsters. They also don't really know how to hit you if you're just like running past them like that. You'll like dodge monsters. Later we're gonna get something called phasing, which will let us just run straight through monsters. Once you have a lot of attack speed, their attack is so slow that they'll generally never hit you. It's really nice. Right, now we're going to switch in faster attacks here. This is
You're so
probably the
cute when
tankiest
you're
boss in the
bewildered.
campaign. It's a very hard boss. You want to be very, very careful here. You'll do like a big like red wave that goes around her. It does a lot of damage. You can run around or just blink through it. If you want to run, then you want to stay like pretty close to her. You gotta be careful for the things on the ground as well. But she dies pretty fast, especially with the faster attacks in. Uh-oh. Easy. And
My
then
beautiful champion.
we can just keep
I knew
faster
I could
attacks in
rely on
because we're
you.
about to fight 3 little bosses and then another boss called Malachi. Another crafting recipe there, and then we're moving to the next one. Right now, if you're on software, you could be using skitterbots instead of determination. Obviously, the tank is a bit nicer though, and you would need another blue slot. It's a little bit of a pain. What is more important, life tap or elemental damage with attacks? At this point, elemental damage with attacks. We wouldn't want to use life tap right now. Earliest you can switch to life tap is like 40-ish, and even then it's a bit of a pain. Here's an Arcanist Stormbox, so I could use a transmute on that. That's best case scenario. I wouldn't bother actually rolling it more. Using a transmute on it is fine. So now I can actually get a bunch of good currency from this. A lot of monsters. Now, the fire and ignite resistant, this is one of the tankiest things, and like for our build, And you'll keep encountering these and you'll really notice them because they're basically double resistant. They're not fire resistant, they're not ignite resistant, they're both. Dodri is very scary. The things on the ground will curse you. So obviously, like the way we use flammability as a curse, she has enfeeble, temporal chains, and vulnerability, and they'll keep rotating. I normally stay inside the vulnerability one because it doesn't lower my damage, and it just makes her one hit me. So I just refuse to get hit by her, and then I'm fine. Then she goes down pretty easy. I portal out and go back to the waypoint.
I didn't catch a word of what you said, do it.
And yeah, that's the reason we have faster attacks in still and didn't bother swapping back, because we're mostly just fighting some bosses right now.
To kill for.
Dies pretty fast. Honestly, like even now our damage is really, really good considering we have nothing right now. We have no leveling items or anything. This is like a complete like test as if it was new. Do I have an augment on me? No, but I will augment that at some point. Just that flask had a suffix, the remove curse thing, and the making it instant or half instant is a prefix on flasks. I would bother like augmenting that. I usually on hardcore would have an instant life flask by now.
Now you are simply
Let's see.
gorgeous.
I'm just allocating things while we're waiting for the NPC to talk. And right now we're completely one-to-one with the build guide, except maybe one mastery, the one we talked about earlier.
Slice away the ugly.
Always want to follow the build guide. And for people that are like fucking something up or feeling a lot weaker than what they should, this is like the build that I can always fix any problem. This is always fixable. It'll always feel good. It'll always be good. It'll never be like, oh well, you're just bad or anything. Like it's always a fixable problem. Alright. This is great because I can put flame nudge here, flammability here. Wait, no. Flammability there. Oh no, I need 2 blues. This is annoying. I need 2 blues and a green. Right, whatever.
What is it?
Find that later. But either way, we got new movement speed now. I'm still resist capped, so we don't need to worry about anything right now.
Fear guide you.
Any new gems? We might be using... Is it called Sadism? We might be using Sadism early until we get the belt for the build that I did on.
To finally meet you, duelist.
Also, thank you so much for all subs and resubs. Alerts are off at the moment. Are you able to play PoE without the map overlay? I fucking hate it. Like this? No. I have it sometimes for bosses, but
Now, Exile!
I love having the overlay on in the middle of the screen. Literally, my #1 least favorite thing about Diablo 4 is no map overlay. I honestly think I would play Diablo 4 more if I had a map overlay. It is my single least favorite thing about the game.
Now, Exile!
Dumbest design choice I've ever seen. So here you see that he like pops out of the ground. That slam does a lot of damage. Everything else isn't really that bad. Those like blobs he does a decent amount, and that does a decent amount. So anything that's like slow and telegraphed, very, very likely to one-shot you. Once we've gotten our cruel ascendancy, so that's our like second lamb, it's called, we'll be borderline immortal in the campaign. You like very hard to die then. This is like, for a new player, this will be the tankiest build you'll ever play.
What it means to be nightmare. You are being selfish.
I am being selfish.
I gave my life. Nightmare gave me so much more.
There. We still have the faster attacks in at the moment. Ow. And right now we're doing a lot of traveling on the skill tree, so it's like quite a while until we get more damage. And the reason we're keeping up with damage is because we're getting those nice level boosts. So being over leveled, really, really huge. And that's how we're able to keep up that good damage. And then I think it's within like 10 levels, we're getting a absolute shit ton of damage. And we're getting to a leveling area soon where we're going to over level.
Are you so in love with
Like a
death?
really, really fast leveling area in Act 5. Where do you go? What are the things called that you click and a bunch of monsters spawn? That's a strong box. Okay, we'll just pick up some random stuff. There was nothing there really cared about. We're not really looking for a lot of loot right now. But that was Malachi. He's all dead. We're gonna check the helmet, and we're just looking for life and resist, and especially open suffix, so that we could craft more resists. I'm gonna grab a. Oh, I have augments in my inventory. Didn't get what I
What is
needed.
it, Exile?
I'm just checking. Any interesting four links? No,
watching you.
nothing. See if she
no-
sells hallowed potions. No, it just sells 36. Let's sell that a instant colossal, but that's fine.
See
We'll wait, what's that instant 42s?
Can we be of help?
Oh, that is 42s. So I'll buy two of
Be
these.
careful.
And then there, boom. That's exactly what we want. This is like not best case scenario, but pretty close to. Like bleed immunity would be very, very nice. But yeah, you really want a freeze immunity. Here you get some rewards. You can pick up greater multiple projectiles here. We're going to be using that for our frenzy skill. And then here there's a bunch of golems. I don't bother with those. They're really annoying. You have to resummon them all the time, and they can actually get you killed because a boss could try to slam your golem and hit you instead, and you might not know their golem slightly off screen and has started a boss slam. So I very rarely use golems. I generally try to avoid it. Wait, do I have LMP in right now? I do. Good. Generally a lot better for clearing. This is a pretty rippy zone. You'll see like these things, whatever they are, the not goats, but the other things. They'll like slap you, like flicker strike on you. Very annoying. Still killing all blues. Blues are always worth it. Used to be slightly easier to go ignite early. Like there's not that much ignite early and it just doesn't feel that great. Especially like 20% of our ignite chance comes from the quality on the gem, which we don't have early because those are quite rare. We don't have that until quite a lot later. Dark Tooth Arrow Quiver. I mean, we will look at it. No. That would be a thing to check for when there's getting like a nice feathered arrow quiver and using an Essence of Woe on it is very, very good. That would be pretty noticeable. Our explosive arrow just leveled, so we get a nice 15% more damage boost there as well. The fact that you can just place the totems along the way and have time to dodge things is awesome. Yeah,
Return to Oriath.
it's really, really nice. And that's what I mean about damage uptime, which I'm sure you're starting to notice as a new player now, that the damage is just always there and it's just clearing really nicely. And yeah, you're noticing the damage is just going up and up. And if you do have leveling items in this build, like Quill Rain and stuff, it's absolutely insane. It is such an insane leveler for that. And you might notice that I'm not using greater multiple projectiles on my explosive arrow. It's like I don't really need the 2 extra projectiles. Doesn't really, I don't feel the benefit outweighs the lower damage. So there, he's dead.
It feels good.
And hopefully you've already noticed that all I'm doing on every boss pretty much is I keep moving, try to avoid backtracking, and move in circles. When Dr. Lonnie gives us a ring, normally what I do is I look at what's my worst ring and then I just get whatever, a better one of that. Either you want a better one, not a worse one like I just got. We're gonna look at the amethyst ring. This is very insane. If that had like 50 life, this would be like a all the way to the end game kind of ring. I don't know if we can fit it. We can try. I do have a lot of lightning resist. We can. And it has attack speed on it too. Chaos resist isn't very important during the campaign, but that is an insane ring. We're absolutely going to keep that. Here. Oh, we kind of have 2 really good rings right now. We keep moving, and I do have a spare skill point right now, just to place that in whenever. Like, I'm not in a rush because right now we're going through what I said was traveling nodes. So I'm not about to have anything. I'm not going to explain instilling orbs right now. It's kind of unnecessary and you're not going to use it right now as a new player. I might explain that in the mapping portion. Not really super necessary for this build, so I might just skip that. Pick them up. Oh, a lot of monsters. Proximity shield, that thing, you basically need to stand inside if you want to deal damage. Very, very annoying. Ow. And your totems need to be inside. Experimental supplies. Chains that bind. Quite rare div card to get during the campaign. Not the rarest, but that will give you a 6-link body armor once you get all 11 cards. Really, really nice. And yeah, they'll be in like similar layouts. So penetrating arrow clip we're not even gonna pick up. This guy gets a huge damage shield whenever he's summoning, so you'll do very, very little damage. I promise you still not see DPS. Just while he's summoning is crazy damage resistance, and then you go back to normal damage after. A lot of bosses have that where they'll like sometimes do things that give them like a huge shield, basically. And also every boss for the most part has like, as soon as they've come out of their grace period, or what you want to call it, they have like very, very big tapering damage resistance. That was added because TGD didn't like that the racers were using War Banner for that adrenaline buff we talked about earlier and bursting down everything in the campaign in a literal 1 second. So they made them like tankier, and it's like, okay, you need to at least stare at the boss a little bit before we let you pass. There. Don't need to kill uniques like this. It's just not the end of the world either. We're gonna grab skill points here. We're moving up. Moving up in the world, getting towards more damage. We're pretty fast now as well because we got the 25% movement speed boots. And we're keeping the 2 Quicksilvers up. Like, they don't stack obviously. So I'm like using one, as you can see, and then running, and then using another. And since our explosive are clearing out so many monsters, we're pretty high uptime on the chargers. So you guys playing along are enjoying the build. One of my favorite starters for sure. And I do try to like every box. That was an Orb of Binding. This is the best orb you could get early. It forces a 4-link. It will actually remove, if it's a 5 or 6 socket item, it will remove sockets. But if it's an item that's like, let's say I used it on a glove, for example, it doesn't need to be white. But if I use it on a glove, boot, or a helmet, it'll force it to a 4-socket 4-link. So that'd be really, really nice. What I might do now is I might try to find a Evasion Energy Shield helmet. My helmet's not that crazy. It's kind of okay. But I'm not going to replace my boots. I could do it on my gloves too. Either a glove or a boot. And honestly, I'll probably do a helmet because gloves could hit fire damage. Helmet can't. I'll try to find a nice base for that. And then I can get my curse on hit set up. That way I don't have to cast from ability anymore. It'll basically cast that for me. And already now you could start thinking about switching the life tab. But as you can see, we don't have much life regen. We're at... Are we at any? We have no life regen? Yeah, we have 0. Definitely don't switch this early then. You do want like 100 life regen or something before you switch. So, Chamber of Incense, this is a really, really good leveling scene. And a lot of people will stay here, sometimes on hardcore, all the way to like 48. And that's because you'll see every little like crevice here has like blue monsters. And there's so many monsters between, so you're constantly killing things. Really, really good for our build because we don't have to like stick around much and make sure things die. Oh, I'll take that. So like finishes everything for us. And the reason for this is the further area we go, there's not that much density. It's not that much like, you know, really nice areas. So this is just a really, really nice leveling area, and you can stay here. Yeah, in the event I run called Gauntlet, people stay here to like 50, 55, and like really, really gear up here. Like a dangerous event. Aspar bubbles gives quality to flasks. And right now, our filter is actually hiding quite a lot. So if I start holding Alt, you will see things. We'll do it on a blue pack. We'll see things that are being hidden, like this Basilard, etc. And like lots of blues, etc. Because PoE drops way more items than you need. So the loot filter will hide a bunch of it so that you don't have to see loads of things that you aren't interested in to begin with.
I can't do this just yet.
Now, normally I would do at least 2 runs here to get some XP. I'll probably do, yeah, I'll probably do at least 1 more, even though we're on softcore. It'll speed us up later, so it's worth it. There, and then I'll just portal out.
I suppose. Farewell.
Wow, that's such a depressing amulet. So this is insane. It's got 79 life. This is like endgame viable. It's got damage over time multiplier, which is at the endgame one of the best things we could possibly get, right? We can't use that right now because we don't ignite and do damage over time. However, this is 5 damage to attacks. So it's very sad. You could risk annulling it. It's an orb we haven't encountered yet, but it's most likely just going to be something you vendor. A little sad.
Talakura, savior.
I'm gonna take a quick break for my cat. Yeah, right. I'm back. So that was actually my son screaming. I thought it was the cat. It was a very, very loud shriek. And the terrible thing that happened was that mommy would not let my son have a cookie, extra cookie. That was the travesty that occurred. But I'm back. Right, sorry. So you can grab either Grunnet or Jade. Honestly, I really like having a Grunnet at this point. We're already using Determination. Now, you don't want something like less duration, so I'm going to use an alteration on this until I get something like more usable. And then I'm using augmentations if it has something like semi-usable that isn't less duration. Nah. Sure, augment. Ugh. Really don't want less duration. We'll just keep that. We don't use crit at the moment, but the charge recovery is really nice. We are using movement abilities a lot right now, so what I'm going to do is can roll this a little bit. Oh my god, so much less duration. There. And then we're going to go down to 1 Quicksilver. Now, on softcore, you don't need to do this. You don't need that extra utility fast for defense. It is quite nice, though. But Yeah, it's, let's see, let's make a new zone and then we're gonna go kill him. You will see a big notice in your armor. It goes from 2,200 to 6,000, so it triples our armor from that one flask. And obviously, I don't super need multiple quicksilvers right now because we're clearing so fast and so much. I will probably be trying using sadism at least start. Not gonna make a big difference either way, but most likely you can just follow what I do on league start. I'll figure out if it's good or not. And thank you again so much for all subs and resubs during this. Subs the alerts show off, so you can just focus on teaching. There. So now we're gonna go straight to the boss. We're at level 44. It's like more than enough, really. Could stay for longer if we wanted to. There's nothing wrong with that. If you really want to be super powerful, you can stay here till 48. It gives so much better XP than all the further areas. That's because there's so many blue monsters here at the end. This is basically the same as killing a few hundred white monsters. Check out the hollow life flask, see if we get a second instant. No, instant one low life. I'm not a big fan of that. We're going to put faster attacks instead of lesser multiple projectiles.
Must be cleansed of impurity.
You'll really notice if you've overleveled, he will die like pretty much instantly. Obviously right now he'll take a few more seconds. But he'll still go down pretty fast and he has quite a lot of stages. But up here. Offhand EAs now. So normally you wouldn't have this many chance orbs and you are going to need quite a lot of chance orbs at the start of your maps. But very early as you can really, you do want to buy 6 explosive arrows and level them in your offhand. That is a good habit even as a new player because eventually you're going to want a level 21 gem and we haven't covered or found a Val orb yet. The only way to get a 21 gem is by Valing a level 20 and that can like break the gem. But that's why you want to have a bunch of backups. It will cost you 6 chance orbs. And you can buy chance orbs for 1 orb of fusing too. So if you have a bunch of fusings, that is okay early. Especially once you've gotten your links. I don't know if I actually covered what a fusing does and a jeweler. So jewelers will randomize the sockets on an item. And like I said, once it's item level 50, you can go up to 6 sockets. It's quite rare. Getting a 6 sockets is 1 in 300 or something, 350 on average. Maybe it's 300. And then the links, it's as long as I use the fusing, if I use the fusing on the boots, it could link all 3. And getting a 6 thing is 1 in 1,200 when it's like 28 quality on the item. Generally, an item goes up to 20 quality easily, and then we have some endgame shenanigans we can do to get it higher. So you do want to make sure that if you're going to use fusings on an item, especially if you're going to use a lot of fusings on an item, you really want to have 20 quality on it. Very important. Very important. That's the crafting mentioned release. What would you say is the best time to buy 6 gems to level up? I probably would do it around now. Within the next like 8 levels. Because right now, the explosive arrow from the vendor is leveling up with us, but at some point soon that will stop. So you might as well do it around now. You do need so many chance orbs too, it's a bit of a pain. Again, the rotation, oh. This sucks. You could put down a portal to avoid this if you're not good at bullet hell. There. They are supposed to like become statues and block the projectiles for you.